Side effects?
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance.
Gwynn and Chris are ready to go.
Well, for today, you get some more Sammy and Skraby here on 97.3 The Fan. Hope everybody enjoyed the Braden Soprano show, off and running. Nothing has changed in our time slot. We're going to be here with you from 2 to 6. No Skraby show today because of the 4 hours we're going to be doing here. We'll be back to the Skraby show tomorrow. I got Sam Levitt with me today, and I'm very excited to have Sam on the show. He's going to bring us an interview with Jake Cronenworth that has not been published to the interwebs yet, so that is really fun to see. Sam, I got a question before we set up the show, because this is what I thought about this morning. His face was great. You could also watch us on YouTube. Just search 97.3.
Okay. Yeah. What's your question? Just telling you right now. I'm just telling you right now at 2:01 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And we're together for the next 4 hours.
Yes, we are.
It's kind of rare that we do a full 4 hours together.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, this is going to be one of those afternoons where you're going to get full-on sarcastic Sam Levitt.
That's fine with me. I have more fun with sarcastic
And
people.
we have to address something you just said as well. But yes, ask me the question first.
Oh, okay. The question is this, because you go out to Arizona basically once a year now. This is your thing. You go out to Peoria, you stay there for about 6 weeks. All of us in California have to deal with the time change. And you don't have to deal with the time change because now we are at the same time. And I got to tell you, Sam, the time change, the spring forward messes me up. So, I mean, aren't you just happy that you don't really have to deal with that spring forward every year now? Because would you rather be home or would you rather be in Arizona?
Well, that's a really good point that I'm now going on 3 consecutive spring forwards that I have not done. So that's a good point. You're right. In Arizona, we do not spring forward, but California and San Diego catches up. I like it because it means for like a day like this, good example, instead of ending at 7 p.m., I'll be done at 6 p.m. So I do like being on the same time as San Diego. It makes my brain work a little bit easier when we're coordinating things back home in San Diego. So I do not mind it. Now, the thing that I wanted to dive into with you, I wanted to open up a little bit. And I wonder if our listening audience would agree on this, and you can call in, give us your opinion, 833-288-0973. That's 833-288-0973. Why? Because you're on with me until 6. Why would that excuse you doing the Skraby show until 7 p.m.? What does one have to do with the other? If you have such a loyal audience for the Skraby show until 7 p.m., the Skrabinator night at the ballpark, aren't there people that get in their car after work at 6 p.m. expecting to hear you, and you will be letting them down with no Skraby show today?
Sam, these are all things that go through my head. I think long and hard about it. And when last time we went Tuesday through Thursday, you and I did all the Skraby shows, and I felt like my 6 to 7 p.m. was just a bunch of mush. So it didn't really make sense for me to keep putting out lackluster Skraby shows when I have 4 hours here. But you're right. I get messages from people. Hey, you were supposed to be on tonight. I'm driving home from work. What's going on? I will be back tomorrow, everyone. I will be back tomorrow. But I understand, Sam. You and Chris asked the same question. Chris thinks I'm lazy. So I'm
not calling you lazy. I get it. I would like
for Chris to actually show up before he calls me lazy.
I shouldn't talk. I shouldn't talk because just a couple of weeks ago, I had to fill in a bunch with you, and I did not do my Wednesday night show because I was just about over it.
This is a really good point. So we're on even footing, Sam, and it's only one this week.
So.
If we were doing this like all week, I probably would end up doing more, but I figure 4 is better than 4 with a really bad one. So anyway, that is the Skraby Show news update for the day. The Aztecs women's team, that's where Chris is right now. He's in Vegas. He's calling the game for the Aztecs. They're playing New Mexico at 2:30, the women's team. So we'll keep you up to date on that. They've won a lot of games this year, 23 games. So the Aztecs women's team, not so bad. We'll also talk about the Aztecs men's team cruising past Nevada. We will hear from Jake Cronenworth, as I said. We'll talk with Chris Wehan former MLS, easy for me to say, player. And Sam, I didn't realize this until we talked earlier, but you had talked to him on a Friday, and I heard that interview, and he was very good. So I'm happy to have him on.
Yeah, he did a good job on Friday with Ben and I when I was filling in on the morning show for 4 hours there too.
You take that
so
way more seriously than this show, that's for sure.
That's not true.
I heard you
That's
say,
not true.
"Yes, Ben, I was actually reading this article earlier today, and I actually read it 4 times for you just to make sure I had everything down."
Yeah, I might take it a tad more serious. But, well, here's the thing. They got me on a morning where I was not at the complex. I didn't do anything else. Well, I did go to the game afterwards that got essentially rained out after 2 innings.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a waste. But I did get to see Kyle Hart, talk to Kyle Hart. So I guess it wasn't really a waste. Yeah, today I've already been to the complex. I've put in, a morning of work at the complex. Nice interview today with Jeremiah Estrada, which we won't play today, but that'll come out of the next day or two. Yeah, so, you kind of get like the second part of my day.
No, I get
which
it.
is, I think, why you feel the way you feel.
No, I totally get it. There's a lot that goes into Sam's day that he
but
doesn't
you were
share
asking
on
me
the
about
radio.
Chris Wehan. I'm sorry. I totally took that in the direction of myself.
No, it's okay.
What else is new? Sam focusing on himself.
That's not true.
It is true.
Chris Wehan.
Chris Wehan did a really nice job on Friday with Ben and I. Very knowledgeable on the MLS, on San Diego FC. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see very much of that last match they played in Salt Lake
I just
City.
saw the highlights. I read a lot
I know
about
they
it,
won.
though.
I saw some of the highlights. So, look, I'll tell you this. With San Diego FC, I mean, it's about as good of a start as you could have hoped for them. The only thing they really didn't do was, create a memorable moment in that home opener, 0-0, score a goal, get the crowd going. But aside from that, I mean, 2 wins in 3 matches, 1 draw. They've already got 7 points. I mean, you could not have ever really asked for any kind of a better start. So good for them. They continue to impress early in their existence as a club.
Yes. All right, we're going to get into the Padres now, because I feel like we're at the point in the spring training season where there's not really much that we're talking about, because it's pretty normal stuff. We've already seen how guys are going to perform. We've already seen that guys are stepping up in left field trying to fight for that spot. Here's one area that we are still focusing on, which is that 5th rotation spot. You, Darvish.
I think there are a lot of areas to focus on.
Okay, we can go to that. But what I wanted to ask you is,
I mean, you get on here and you're like, yeah, we kind of know what's going on, but the one area where
left field
we don't
left
know,
field in 5th rotation.
I could give you final 2 bench spots. I could give you 5th spot on the rotation. I could give you left field. I could give you catcher. We could go a million different ways, but I digress.
Okay,
go ahead.
Let's go in those ways in a little bit, but we're going to talk about Matt Waldron right now, because he is leader in the clubhouse to some people as 5th rotation guy. Yesterday, after Nick Pivetta had an awesome start, went 3 innings, struck out 3, walked 1, gave up a hit.
Yep.
Matt Waldron came in the game, inning 2/3, 6 earned runs given up, 8 earned runs in his last 2 starts. I am trying to process this because I've been told spring training doesn't matter, but this feels like it matters.
Yes and no. In my opinion, I mean, look, on one hand, you'd like Matt to see better results. On the other hand, they'll give you 2 reasons to not worry about Matt Waldron, or I should say 2 reasons as to why I think he's still very much in the mix for the 5th and final rotation spot, despite a couple of tough outings in the Cactus League. Reason number 1, he's throwing the knuckleball far more than he did a year ago. That we know is something that he wants to do, that the team wants him to do. So when you think about it, look, it may be, a situation where if these were regular season starts, maybe if he's not locating that knuckleball, and he walked quite a few people yesterday and it just wasn't landing in for strikes. It was, floating up there, but not landing in the strike zone, which is part of the problem. In a regular season game, I think you could argue that Matt's got enough other stuff where maybe, he's trying to go away from the knuckleball. If he can't get it over, at least attack a little bit differently. Whereas, it's spring training and the games don't count. And he's, kind of got a directive to use that knuckleball more. So, again, I don't know that I'm going to put a ton of stock into the results because it's a spring training game and he's pitching a certain way because he's working on certain things. So that's number one. Number two, I would say this, and look, we'll get deeper into it. I don't want to get too deep into it now because I know we got to get to break. But Stephen Kolek, has been terrific. I think Stephen Kolek has a real shot to get this fifth and final spot. Kyle
Someone
Hart
who's flying under the radar
as well.
for sure. Stephen Kolek.
For sure. But here's what I will say. Something Matt Waldron has that neither Kolek nor Kyle Hart have is a track record of a pretty extensive period in the major leagues, which came last season, where he very regularly got major league hitters out and put together really good starts.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle Hart's never done that. Stephen Kolek's never done that. I'm not saying they can't do it. But with Matt Waldron, there is a proof of concept, if you will.
Yep.
There is some proof in the pudding, if you will. There's a proof of whatever way you want to put it, of this guy getting major league hitters out with regularity using that knuckleball. And I do think that means something. So, yes, it's been a couple of rough outings in a row for Matt Waldron, but I think those two things I mentioned, the way he's pitching right now, what he's focusing on, and the fact that there is a track record with Matt, to me, those are two pretty important things to think about when assessing this fifth and final rotation spot. Doesn't mean he's going to get it per se, but
it doesn't hurt.
Something to keep in mind.
His chances at all.
It all matters. It all matters. The spring training results matter. What you've done before matters. How you project matters. I think it's all part of the big picture when they're determining who will be that fifth and final starter, at least to begin the year.
All right, we've saved the bulk of it for the rest of the 4 hours, Sam. We can keep going into this as we go along. But when we get back, we're going to tell you about how the Yankees' pitching woes may affect the Padres. So stick with us. Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
We want to treat you to a night in our company suite with 20 tickets for you and your friends.
No way! Are you kidding me?
Register at 97.3 The
Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero. Never met a pitch he couldn't swing at. And powerhouse hitter for the Expos and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, The guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time. Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there.
Back here, Gwynn and Chris, Sammy and Skraby. Tony's actually going to be back with us tomorrow after the game. Padres are actually playing right now, too. And something big just happened for the Padres out there in Peoria, Arizona. Here it is.
Tried to challenge the strike three call, but waited a tick too long and was not given the opportunity as he sends this one to deep center field. And Fernando off the camera. A home run, his first of the spring.
There we go. Love it. I love that Fernando's getting his first home run. I love that he's hitting it off of the camera. How is Fernando feeling? He's been kind of a quiet guy here during the spring training period.
Yeah, it is spring training. It is Cactus League games. Guys getting their timing back, their swing back. So,
but I'm saying Fernando, more like we haven't really heard much from Fernando, or I know he was sick to start spring training, but he's just kind of focusing.
You want me to interview him?
I mean, yeah, sure, that would be great.
Okay, well, that'll be on my list for the next few days.
Okay.
How about that?
All right, I love it. We'll talk more about
Any other requests you have? Anything else you want me to do?
I know you have
other
one with
than join
Jeremiah
you for a 4-hour
program. Jeremiah Strada's a good one. You have talked to basically everyone in spring training, so I can't think of anyone else right now.
No, there's some guys. There are plenty of one-on-ones I got to do still.
Okay. All right. Well, Sam,
we got Jake.
Out there.
Jeremiah is done. That was done today. There are a number of other guys.
Yes. We'll hear from Jake here in about 20 minutes or so. Padres, top of the fifth inning. They're down 3-1 against the Reds. So we will check in on that.
That's it for the season.
Well, it's been it for the season every day because the Padres are 4-11 in Cactus League play. This is getting ridiculous.
It's over.
It's getting ridiculous. Before the break, I told you that the Yankees pitching woes may affect the Padres. And Garrett Cole. Now, last year, he started the year in spring training complaining of some elbow discomfort. They decided to do a whole long rest. I don't think he debuted until maybe middle of the year, just before that. He was fine after that, but now he's dealing with some elbow discomfort once again. He has been told that he should probably, he's been advised to get Tommy John surgery. He's looking for another opinion on all of that. So that's not a for sure the Tommy John surgery. But here's the thing. With Garrett Cole out and Luis Heel out for a while with the Yankees, they need to fill some rotation spots to begin their year. Could the Padres deal a pitcher and get a higher than asking price offer? Would you go contact the Yankees right now and say, hey, I know you need pitching. We want this. What do you say? Do you actively shop the Yankees for a certain deal?
Do I actively shop? I don't know. I really don't want to.
Yeah.
I like this group the way it is. I understand that injuries create needs for other teams. I understand certainly if the Yankees are calling more aggressively about somebody like a Dylan Cease, about somebody like a Michael King. I understand that. I understand that AJ's got to listen. I suppose if it's the right package and something you feel is going to help your team, your organization, I guess it's something you consider. Look, for 2025, I like where they are. I like this team. I like this rotation. You move a guy like a Dylan Cease right now, I think it does two things. Number one, it creates a massive hole in your rotation where all of a sudden now we keep talking about one rotation spot at the back end. Now everybody moves up a slot and you have two rotation spots unless you're getting a starting pitcher back that's ready. It opens up a massive hole in your rotation. And I like this team and where it's at and think they're going to be pretty good and right in the mix. And if they're not, you're going to be able to, dangle King and Cease at the deadline, and we'll worry about that then come the summertime if they're not, in the mix. So I don't know. To me, right now I'm focused on 2025, and the best version of this team is with Dylan Cease and Michael King on it. So it's my opinion. That doesn't mean that conversations aren't happening. That doesn't mean that AJ Preller shouldn't listen, shouldn't consider, but for purposes of this 2025 Padres team, it's very hard for me 2 weeks out to see one of those guys moving and consider it a good thing at this current moment. And I'll also say this, for this current group, I think it's pretty tough to 2 weeks out from spring training, when I think you feel like you got a pretty good group, to move one of your key starting pitchers. That's a rough message to your clubhouse. Again,
you're rolling the dice.
Yeah, kinda. That's so. Again, who knows? Crazy things happen. AJ does things that you don't expect. At times you don't expect it. But I would prefer Dylan Cease and Michael King to be Padres on opening day.
I agree with you. I think that when I first heard about this, of course, I thought, oh, well, maybe AJ is going to do something, but I don't think he's going to break it up this late. Now, he did break up the team a little bit last year when he ended up getting Dylan Cease, but that was a completely different situation. You're putting in
Dylan Cease.
Yeah, you're putting in a pitcher and you're giving away prospects and,
completely different.
Yeah, completely different. But I agree. Keep this group together. They seem to have something here. This clubhouse seems to want to fight for each other, and I know that you can't just use that and not trade someone, but I like where they're at right now. I do.
Yeah, look, the Yankees in particular are in a really interesting spot. Okay, they potentially have lost Garrett Cole for the season and more. I mean, he gets Tommy John surgery in a week.
It's over.
I'm saying hypothetically here.
Yeah.
He has to go get it in the next week. Guess what? Garrett Cole's probably going to miss part of next year too. Okay, with the timing of it.
Yep.
Okay, it's awful timing. So they've lost him. Luis Heel is out for 2 months.
Yep.
Rotation's not great. You've got a team that, is coming off a World Series appearance. It would seem kind of impossible for them to lose Heel and Cole for extended periods of time. And Cole, probably the whole year if he does go get Tommy John, which it sounds like it's probably going to happen. Look, if I'm Brian Cashman, I would be calling the Padres and asking about Dylan Cease. So again, never say never, because to me, the Yankees, and there are other teams too that could use starting pitching and have dealt with injuries, the Mets being one of them, losing Montas and losing Sean Manaea, early this spring. So
also now outside of pitching, they've lost Francisco Alvarez for 6 to 8 weeks of the broken hamate bone.
So look, I am sure AJ is getting calls. I'm sure of it. I'm sure there are legitimate calls being made to the Padres because they got two guys in Cease and King that are free agents at the end of the year. And we know we're in heavy trade rumors earlier this offseason. So I don't want to say it's not going to happen. I don't want to say, it's never something that's going to happen, because I'm sure the calls are coming in. But I just think it would be a really tough move to your team, to your fan base, to move one of those guys 2 weeks, to opening day. But never say never. Look, AJ gets a package he wants, and maybe a package where he feels, it improves your system and it improves your team in other areas, and it's worth it and it makes sense. What we go from there. But I would say from a major league standpoint, it's pretty hard to envision right now, even if there's a chance it could happen.
Two things. First, I love it when you go, ha ha, like you have this evil laugh about trading away people before the season. It's hilarious. And secondly, at least the Padres fans aren't Yankees fans. I mean, can you imagine where we would be right now with two pitchers being out of the starting rotation? It's bad. It's bad for the Yankees fan. I'm knocking on all the wood, and that shook my camera. But there's injuries all over baseball, and I'm not even going to say what I wanted to say about the Padres, so I'll move forward.
I'll say this. Look, here's the thing. The Dylan Cease move last year, the timing of it, it's very rare. It's very, very rare that you have that magnitude of player traded during spring training. Let's not get things confused. Injuries happen every spring, but something we don't see happen often in spring are big trades involving big players and big moves. It's not usual. What we usually see is guys get injured, and then these free agents that haven't signed yet have been signing. That's been sort of the pattern the last half decade or so, as we've got into a rhythm where there's just all these unsigned guys at the start of spring. But it's pretty rare to see a big trade 2 weeks to opening day. It just is. So I don't think it's likely. I don't, but I am sure the calls are coming in, because if you're the Yankees, if you're the Mets, why wouldn't they be? They need pitching.
I would definitely be contacting the Padres, and they have a chance. I mean, the Mets didn't spend $350 million to not make the playoffs. They're definitely trying to make the playoffs. Real quick before we go to break, Jurickson Profar with the Braves. Saw this over the weekend. Very scary moment for him. He dove to try to catch a fly ball. He came down on his wrist. He hurt that wrist. He left the game. But news is that there is optimism regarding his wrist. It looked like if he rests the rest of spring training, basically opening day isn't out of the question for Jurickson Profar. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, obviously, if he's unavailable opening day, that'll be a blow for the Atlanta Braves, and I hope Jurickson's okay.
Yeah,
Jurickson is a great guy. I still support Jurickson, even though he's not in the brown and gold. So it was good to hear that his wrist wasn't broken. Yeah, and hopefully he's back very soon.
All right, you talked to Jake Cronenworth a little bit, or
I did. I've been working all day.
Yes, you have.
Unlike you, who pops on at 2 p.m.
That is not true. I get up at 6 a.m. and I start moving the hamster
walk your
wheel.
Dog, have a leisurely breakfast.
Yeah, then I
get
go
a nice workout in,
play some video games for a little bit, take a nap before I come down here. It's beautiful, actually. I love my job, Sam. All right, Jake Cronenworth, Sam Levitt, when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
All right, it's time for the Beaver Nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall / entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves Buc-ee's. And so we got into the conversation, and it ended up being about the Beaver Nuggets. And so I had to order them because I find the name Beaver Nuggets very gross. I find it gross. But we're going to go with this. It's kind of like a Cheeto / a corn pop.
It's like a cheese doodle.
A cheese doodle. And we're going to eat them right now. I don't think these are bad, but here we go. I like it. It tastes like a corn pop.
I was just saying it tastes like a waffle, really.
It does kind of taste like a waffle. You know what? I'm in. These are good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You want another one?
No, I don't want another one. But yeah, I mean, it tastes like a waffle, like a waffle with syrup on it.
It's pretty good. I gotta say, I'm not hating these at all. Actually, they're very good. I like this. The waffle is a perfect explanation. If you've ever had, I'm sorry, I'm talking on the microphone with food in my mouth. But if you've ever had a what is it? A Lay's potato chip that's waffle flavor. It's kind of like that. Sad Fryer says, "Are they cheesy?" No, they're not cheesy at all. Actually, they're sweet.
No, it's like a hard waffle with syrup on it, with dried encrusted syrup on it.
Now I don't exactly know what the puff is. It could be just fake something.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like caramel a little bit too. All right, I gotta stop eating these because I will eat the whole bag. I love these things. I'm gonna leave them here though because I will eat this if I go home. It's just gonna be a bunch of beaver nuggets in my bed as I sleepwalk or something like that. All right, it's time for the beaver nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall / entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves Buc-ee's. And so we got into the conversation, and it ended up being about the Beaver Nuggets. And so I had to order them because I find the name Beaver Nuggets very gross. I find it gross. But we're going to go with this. It's kind of like a Cheeto / a corn pop.
It's like a cheese doodle.
A cheese doodle. And we're going to eat them right now. I don't think these are bad, but here we go. I like it. It tastes like a corn pop.
I was just saying it tastes like a waffle, really.
It does kind of taste like a waffle. You know what? I'm in. These are good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You want another one?
No, I don't want another one. But yeah, I mean, it tastes like a waffle, like a waffle with syrup on it.
It's pretty good. I gotta say, I'm not hating these at all. Actually, they're very good. I like this. The waffle is a perfect explanation. If you've ever had, I'm sorry, I'm talking on the microphone with food in my mouth. But if you've ever had a what is it? A Lay's potato chip that's waffle flavor. It's kind of like that. Sad Fryer says, "Are they cheesy?" No, they're not cheesy at all. Actually, they're sweet.
No, it's like a hard waffle with syrup on it, with dried encrusted syrup on it.
Now I don't exactly know what the puff is. It could be just fake something.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like caramel a little bit too. All right, I gotta stop eating these because I will eat the whole bag. I love these things. I'm gonna leave them here though because I will eat this if I go home. It's just gonna be a bunch of beaver nuggets in my bed as I sleepwalk or something like that. All right, it's time for the beaver nuggets. So the story is Somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
A home run on Saturday, a home run on Sunday, and another long one here on this Monday afternoon.
There you go. Home runs in bunches for the Padres. Sammy and Skraby, 97.3 The Fan. I took Sammy off of the YouTube screen for a second because he was doing something.
It's
in his
okay.
kitchen.
People can watch me making my
Okay,
salad.
I just want to make sure you're not doing.
I don't care. They can. You know what? I'll just keep the YouTube stream on. People can watch me sleep later.
I've had. I forget which camera I'm looking. I'm looking at this one. I've had many requests for a uncensored live break feed here in studio, and I have one answer.
You know what I want to do?
No.
I want to become one of those IRL streamers.
You want no one wants that.
Yeah, and I want to always be streaming, and people can watch me live my day-to-day life.
No
everywhere
one
though.
wants that.
At the ballpark, playing pickleball, sleeping, eating, dating, you name it.
Well, I have caught up on Love is Blind, Sam. We're gonna have to get into a conversation later.
What episode are you on?
I just saw one of them not get married at the altar.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
all the
I know
way
where
at
you're
the
at.
end, but we could talk about that later on in the show.
Okay.
I was, because the reason I thought about that is because you said your dating life could be on IRL in real life. And I thought when I was watching Love is Blind, because people are like, you should do it. You should do it. You should do it. I do not want the world knowing what I say, like behind closed doors. It's not something I'm interested in.
I will go on one of those shows for clout, for social media.
Well, that's what they do now. So
to be a villain.
To be a villain.
Let's talk about Gavin Sheets for a second.
Yes.
We heard the home run. Nice call there by Mr. Agler.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 3 home runs in 3 days. Look, I think he's got a real shot. I said earlier about Matt Waldron that one thing that he has is a track record of getting people out in the major leagues. But let me use the same logic with Gavin Sheets. When you think about his potential role on this roster and his candidacy for, let's say, that final bench outfield spot, and he can play first base as well.
Let me say this before you go into it.
Yes.
I was thinking about Gavin Sheets over the weekend and thinking, man, he's probably played himself out of consideration, but now 3 home runs, 2 in the last couple days.
Right. And the thing that Sheets has that some of these other guys don't, whether you want to talk about Tirso or Nelas, or you want to talk about Eggy Rosario, something that he does have is a track record of providing at least power in the major leagues. I mean, keep in mind, Gavin Sheets played in 124 games in 22, 118 games in 23, 139 games in 24. Now, last year, he had an OPS of 660. He had a 599 OPS the year before, but he does hit home runs. He had 10 home runs and, 450 at-bats last year. He had 15 and less than 400 at-bats in 22. That was the best year of his career overall. 706 OPS, 15 home runs, 53 RBIs in 124 games. My point is that when you, again, talk about track records, if I'm comparing him to Tirso, if I'm comparing him to Eggy Rosario, he does have a track record of, at the very least, providing pop and power in the major leagues. So to me, you mix that in with now, a nice little run here at spring training. It's interesting. I think he's a very interesting candidate for that final bench spot. If you're assuming Jose Iglesias is on the team.
Yeah, is there? I don't exactly know how this works, but Gavin Sheets, say he doesn't make the opening day roster. Is he just back in AAA so they have some depth, or is he?
Yeah, he's got options.
Allowed to go look for another team?
I believe he would just be in AAA.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I believe he has options
because then
left.
If the Padres have depth, then you can keep bringing those guys up as needed.
Well, of course. Works. Look, here's the reality. Let's use Tirso or Nelas as an example. Okay, let's say Tirso doesn't make the team. He is a 40-man guy already. In all likelihood, you're going to need somebody like Tirso at some point in the year. Okay, injuries happen, performance happens, DFAs happen, all of it. I'm pretty much willing to bet that Tirso is going to get an opportunity in the major leagues probably at some point this year, one way or another. I just don't know that that's going to come on the opening day roster. It could, but, he's got guys pushing him. Eggy Rosario has had his moments, has played some left field this spring, not a ton of it. Provides a little bit more versatility defensively with also being able to play the infield. And also Eggy's out of options. Okay, that's a significant part of it. That's something to consider.
Can you explain that real quick? Like the options, so you get so many options, and once you're out of options, you're not allowed to. Go ahead and explain.
Yeah, so the Eggy, for example, and Brett Sullivan actually is out of options as well. It means that you can't get sent back down to the minor leagues. I believe you would then be placed first on waivers.
I think you're right.
Before then potentially being released. You got to put them on waivers. Then you would have to, if they clear waivers, release or trade. I think first you go on waivers.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is you can't just send him down to the minor leagues.
No. So this is a big deal for him.
There is a high potential that you will lose the player out of your organization one way or another.
Wow. So that puts a lot of weight on the Eggy Rosario spring training and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't realize that he was out of options.
Yes.
But all right, well, that changes some thinking a little bit. So that means he can never be sent back down to AAA with the Padres?
Correct.
Wow. So I'm floored by this, because this either means he makes the team and he's on the Padres, or he's out of the system.
Yeah. Now, first you're placed on waivers. I guess there are situations where if you clear waivers,
you can
then you would be able to go back down to the minor leagues. The option stuff sometimes can get a little wacky. You can't just put them in the minor leagues.
Baseball contracts and rules are some of the most confusing roster rules in all of sports, Sam. So I don't blame you for it. All right, Sammy caught up with Jake Cronenworth yesterday over the weekend, and we have it for you. Here is Sam Levitt interviewing Jake Cronenworth.
Sam Levitt.
Do to help the team win.
One of the cool things walking into the clubhouse this spring training is you look around and there are some, faces that are missing from a 93-win team last year, but it's really the same group, and the core is really the same. When you think back to last regular season, it was such a tight-knit group, and it showed in the way you played. What do you hope that you guys took away as a group from what you did during the regular season last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a team that has a lot of guys that, like you said, were there last year, and most of us went through kind of that little lull at the beginning of the season, where we were kind of playing 500 baseball, and as the season progressed, we found a way to get better and got to know each other really as a group more and more as the season went on, and I think it showed on the field.
You talked about the lull at the beginning of the season. That was something that we saw a little bit in 23, saw it a little bit in 24, sitting around 500 at the All-Star break. How do you think you guys get off to maybe a little bit of a quicker start this year?
Yeah, I think it's just back to kind of what the familiarity with the group we have now. We know who we are as a team. We know what we do as an offense. Same thing on the pitching and defense side. Some guys have moved around to new positions, but that I think alone is going to help us, get out of the gates maybe a little faster.
I do want to talk about your position in a second, but you mentioned the offensive side, and one thing that really stood out last year was this team led the majors in batting average. You struck out fewer than any team in baseball. From an offensive identity standpoint to you, what do you feel like you guys take into this year?
Yeah, I mean, we take a lot of pride in what we do and what we do as an offense, especially at the park we play at, and the pitching staff we have. And our saying is we only need to score one more run than the other team, whether it's 1-0 or 14-13. But no, I think the buy-in of the group and what we do as an offense is unique to us, and I think the buy-in is the biggest piece. And for everybody to do that, and I necessarily wouldn't call it a small ball approach, but it's we get on base and we drive them in when they're on, and it may not be 5 homers in a game, it might be 15 singles or 10 singles, but that's kind of who we are.
From a position standpoint, I feel like we have this conversation every year around this time about where you might play. You've spent most of spring training, it looks like, working out at second base, playing second base. Jose Iglesias is now in camp. What is your expectation about where you may play on what given day during the year, or at least to start the year?
Yeah, the plan is to be at second base and kind of back to where I was those first 2 years, or first 3 years. But yeah, I'm working there, got note of it in the offseason and could kind of cater towards what I wanted to do, and from a workout standpoint and defensive work standpoint, to be ready for spring.
Do you enjoy playing second base the most? I mean, you always say the right things about where you play, but do you enjoy it more than?
I mean, I enjoy it a lot. I feel like being in the middle of the infield and being able to communicate with all the guys and play an impactful role on the defensive side of the ball, which I love, is huge.
Finally, just want to ask you about a couple of your teammates. The guy to your left when he's playing first base, that's Luis Ariz, who goes through last season, has the torn ligament in his thumb, still wins a third consecutive batting title. What's it been like for you watching him hit and learning from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think since we've got him and I have built a great relationship. Just more so talking in the game and talking about the guy we're facing and how to attack him. Don't have too many lefties in our lineup, and I think him and I have leaned on each other a lot in terms of what we see and what we value that day and what we can do.
Jackson Merrill, another lefty in the lineup. What was it like for you watching what he did last year?
Yeah, it was awesome. I don't know what it's like to be 20 years old in the big leagues. I think I was in college still, but no, I mean, it's incredible. He's super mature, but guy busts his butt and wants to win, which is the biggest piece.
You mentioned, or you alluded to, kind of your journey to this point. Obviously, it's a little bit different than a guy like Jackson's, and there have been, as a team, ups and downs throughout the last couple of years. Whether it was a great regular season, the disappointing way the postseason ended last year. How do you feel like maybe your journey as a player coming up influences maybe the way you can see those ups and downs?
Yeah, I think compared to a lot of the guys on the team, most of those guys were called up at a super young age and have been in the big leagues for a long time. Whereas, I played 5.5 years in the minors, and I didn't get called up until I was 26, and now I'm 31. Right. So, no, I've seen a lot, and I think, I don't want to say old age and my wisdom, but no, I think I see the game in a very unique way, and I just try to spread that knowledge and teach guys and learn from guys.
Yeah.
And, have that.
Jake, appreciate the time as
Absolutely.
always. Look forward to catching up during the course of the season. Best of luck with everything in 2025, and enjoy the rest of spring training as we inch our way towards opening day.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sam.
That was Sam Levitt with Jake Cronenworth, and good stuff, Sam. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thanks, Greg. Always working for your show.
I know you are, and I appreciate that.
Can I give a better, and thank you to Jake for joining me. Good stuff there with Jake. Can I give a better definition of or scenario of what happens when a player is out of options?
Yes, of course. So just
they're
make sure
DFA'd.
you're done eating like Crisello.
I will. I was eating a salad during the course of that recorded interview. Let me explain it a little bit better, right? In the case of a guy like an Eggy or Brett Sullivan, they're put on waivers, because I had a couple of people text me after I not very well explained that.
Oh, that's a great feeling.
First put on waivers. If they're not claimed on waivers, they can either accept an assignment to the minor leagues or they can choose to become a free agent.
Okay.
Right? So first you risk losing them on waivers. And then if they want to go down to the minor leagues, they can accept that assignment, or they can elect to become a free agent after being DFA'd.
That's actually pretty straightforward, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I originally described it, I did not include the idea that they could clear through waivers and then accept an assignment back down in the minor leagues. So
yes.
I apologize for that.
Trevor says, "Put down the Beaver Nuggies, Sammy." I'm coming out there in a week, and I'm bringing the Beaver Nuggets. They've still yet to be
Yeah, you
opened.
should. I love Beaver Nuggets.
Yeah, you're gonna have a whole pack of Beaver Nuggets because I got 2. They made me buy 2 when I bought the Beaver Nuggies. You can't just buy 1; you have to buy 2. So I have tons of that. Beaver Nuggets was very good, Sam. By the way, they were delicious. You were absolutely
they get a
right.
little old after a while.
Yeah, but I think I would eat them
Beaver
as
nuggets.
I think I would eat that as a cereal before I'd eat them just like sitting on the couch. Yeah, it
sugary
tastes like
cereal.
Speaking
of cereal, last night, and for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see. Last night I restocked my my oatmeal supply.
Oh,
yep, got more oatmeal. Got a lot of stuff here, so plenty of breakfast stuff. Finished up my fruit today.
When you go to the grocery store, what's your game plan? Are you in and out? Do you like to go up and down the aisles?
Well, I go to Trader Joe's a lot. And in Trader Joe's, I kind of know the store down pat. So, I stick to easy stuff. I am going to be getting an air fryer when I get back to OB. Get a little air fryer. There was something else I was going to get. Air fryer.
Have you never had an air fryer?
Oh, no, never had an air fryer, but I've used it a couple of times here in the Airbnb. Get that, and also get air fryer. What else was I going to get? It was an air fryer and George Foreman grill.
Oh yeah, I have one of those too. They're
George
great.
Foreman grill. I used to have one, used it a lot. I'm going to get that again.
M. McKee wants to know: do you bring a list to the grocery store with you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, absolutely not. Why? I mean, I grew up with my mom.
It's
my job was to cross things off the list as we were going.
It's far too organized for me.
I'm with you. I kind of am the guy who is random. I don't know if this surprises people, but I walk into the grocery store and I'm like, what grabs my eye first? I'm going down that aisle. And then, oh, look, I got Top Ramen when I didn't come here for Top Ramen. Then, oh, look, I have this. I didn't come here for that. Then I have to put some of it back. It's a whole process. But Trader Joe's, on the other hand, they have really good, like, pre-made meals. And so if I was out there, I would be getting the pre-made meals.
Speaking of, I was outside of the complex today, and they were serving lunch, and some guys came out with, like, some orange chicken and some egg rolls and some like kind of lo mein looking noodles.
That looks delicious.
It looked good. I was jealous.
And you didn't get to eat it?
I almost told him, go in there, get me a plate.
This was at the complex?
Yes.
Okay, so
here's from the lunchroom.
Here's a funny story. When I first, way back when, went there, and I had no idea of the rules of you can't go into the lunchroom or the cafeteria. And so I get there, I'm like, oh, look, they have all this food set up and they got like coffee. So I'm walking in, I got my plate, and some guy looks at me, he's like, who are you? And I was like, oh, I'm with Tony Gwynn Jr. over here. He's like,
oh, that's fine.
Yeah, no, then he was like, Tony told you to come in here? And I said, no, he didn't. And he's like, yeah, because this is for players and staff only. I'm like, okay. So it was very embarrassing. And
Did you keep the plate?
No. I mean, what am I supposed to do though? The guy didn't take the food back and put it down.
You threw it out?
I don't know what they did. I put the plate down and I walked out because I got scared that I was going to get fired for being in the lunchroom.
It did look good. I was jealous. It looked good.
Yeah, orange chicken always does look good.
That's what I'll get for dinner tonight.
Little orange chicken, a little Panda Express.
Maybe. Not Panda Express.
Oh, okay. I haven't been to Panda in a while, so I wouldn't know either. Remember to listen at 5:30 for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. When we get back, Sammy and Skraby continues. We have the Daily Gambit. We also have a ton of NFL news today, like a ridiculous amount of NFL news. And at 3:40, we're going to be talking to Chris Wehan about SDFC. So a lot more ahead here on Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right, well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Skraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick, so goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me. Skraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm going to laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Skraby, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. It's not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys. Never gonna do that again because my mouth is on fire. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right, well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Skraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick, so goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me. Skraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm going to laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Skraby, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. Doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm gonna try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh man, this is hot. Not that bad though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Back here in the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. Sam Levitt was just caught eating his salad, like getting to the bottom of the salad too. It was like really good. It was like one of those where you have to get to the bottom and you have to like scoop everything out and just hope nothing falls all over your face as you're eating. Is your microphone on? Oh, it's not because he's still chewing. Okay, well, we are in the Sammy and Skraby show. He's back. People are asking about these new commercial break videos I have, and one of them I played already, Sam, but it was a trip that Chris, Tony, and I took to Cooperstown, New York in 2019 for Trevor Hoffman's induction. Now, we were hired, and then immediately they were like, hey, we're paying for you guys to go on this trip to Cooperstown. So Chris and I knew each other for maybe like 6 to 7 months. And we went on this trip, but I put together a little video of Chris giving us a tour through Cooperstown. And Chris at the time was playing Woe Is Me. Nobody knows who I am. He was like, literally, no one cares who I am here. You know, like baseball people. And then these listeners come around the corner and they go, oh my God, is that Chris Ello? And these people are like basically worshiping the ground that Chris walks on. And it was hilarious because he had just gotten done saying, no one knows who I am. And then these people in Cooperstown, New York are like, we used to listen to you every day. It was just great. It was great. But I have some of those videos in there. Have you ever been to Cooperstown, Sam?
I have multiple times.
I mean, I don't know if I would go multiple times, but I think it's really fun to go to.
It's great. It's the Hall of Fame's great. The town around it is really great and cute. It's also just a beautiful area. I mean, upstate New York, if you go at the right time of year, fall, summer, it's a really, really beautiful area. So I would encourage any baseball fan, even those living in San Diego, our listening audience. I assume many of you have not been to Cooperstown. I would highly suggest one day you find a way to make the trip because it is really cool. It's a great town, great Hall of Fame, and beautiful area if you go at the right time of year.
Have you ever heard of the? I don't know if you've ever heard this story.
Actually, the last time I was there, I went to a wedding in Cooperstown.
Wow.
Yep, that was
baseball fans.
No, that was the fall of 21.
Okay.
Fall of 21. Mm-hmm.
It's a very hard to get destination for a wedding because
well, but yes, but these people were in New York.
Of course.
You know, not the craziest idea.
Have you ever heard the story where Tony got us a free tour with one of the historians at Cooperstown to all
I think so.
Yeah, to all the stuff that you can't see on the floor. So we were walking around like Roberto Clemente's 3,000th hit bat. I wouldn't even touch it because I didn't want to break it. And Tony went into, there's this whole room where they had all these Tony Gwynn bats. And Tony would look through them all and then he pulls out a bat and he'll be like, oh yeah, this is fall 1999 type of thing. Because he knew all of the different bats. But what I will never forget is the shot heard around the world. That huge home run back in the day. Was it? Yeah, it was a home run, right? Back in the day between the Dodgers and the Giants. And so the shot heard around the world happened. They had the original scorecard from that. And Chris is just sitting there looking at the scorecard and just taking it in. And then he goes to the historian. Did you realize there's a mistake in this scorecard? And the historian's like, no, there's no mistake. We've checked this thing many times. And then Chris goes off the top of his head. He's like, this guy didn't bat here. This guy batted here. And and then he like did some other things, and the historian's face it just went red because he's like, we've never realized this mistake before. The guy was so excited about the shot heard around the world, the scorer, he didn't even finish scoring the game. He just kind of like got up and left. So I thought it was great. Of course, Chris would find something on that, but yeah, you're right. Cooperstown, definitely find a time once in your life.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear that they have stuff that they don't necessarily display, or that maybe the displays change over time, because, they're always getting stuff. They're always sending things to Cooperstown. It's
All
not
the
like
time.
every piece of memorabilia is out on display for the public. So that's cool. Very, very cool.
It was pretty fun. All right. With that in mind, it's time for the Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I'm trying to find what is happening in the Aztecs women's game right now, but I don't know that the game has started. So we will keep looking for that. But otherwise, we made a bunch of bets on Friday, and I had a pretty good week. And I think my week is going to get even better because the first bet was Loyola Marymount. They were playing, I believe, USD on Friday. Loyola minus 7.5 on the spread. Chris and I chose Loyola. Loyola won big, 174. Boise State and Colorado State from over the weekend. Boise State minus 5.5 on the spread. We both chose Boise State. We got that one right. They won 83-73. Now the UCLA women took on Nebraska, and the women were minus 15.5 on the point spread, UCLA. I picked Nebraska. Chris chose UCLA. 85-74. UCLA won by, which is not enough, so I win that bet. Clippers, 7-point favorite over the Knicks over the weekend. Chris chose Knicks. I chose Clippers. Clippers win by 10. I win again. Cavs, minus 16 on the spread at the Hornets on Friday. Well, this is when my streak comes to an end because Chris chose the Hornets. I chose the Cavs. The Cavs did win, but they only won by 1 point, 118-117. And then Celtics, minus 6 on the spread against the Lakers. Now, LeBron James, who's had an incredible stretch here in the last 2-3 weeks, LeBron has hurt himself, and he will be out up to 2 weeks. I believe it's a groin injury. And he did this during the game. Chris chose the Celtics. I chose the Lakers. Celtics win by 10. And then finally, Winnipeg Jets minus 1.5 on the puck line at the New Jersey Devils. Both of us chose the Jets, and the Jets won 6-1. So I went 5-1, I believe, in that, or 5-2. 5-2. All right. So, Sam, the West Coast Conference is happening right now. My USF Dons made it.
When is the West Coast Conference not happening?
Good question, Sam. I don't know. It's always happening. This is good. That's the play-by-play guy from USF from years ago when they played in the tournament. But West Coast Conference, it's going to be Gonzaga and San Francisco tonight for a trip. It's a quarterfinal, so they're still trying to win the West Coast. San Francisco is. Gonzaga, 14.5-point favorite. This will be the third time these two teams have played. I will go first, and I'm going to choose my USF Dons. 14.5 is a lot.
Yeah, I'll take Gonzaga to win, but the Dons to cover. So give me the Dons.
Just
give me the Matt Skraby fighting Dons.
Thank you. Just got a news alert that
but Alec Jacobs, Gonzaga Bulldogs are going to win.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You didn't know that,
Yankees,
but that's fine.
Okay, Yankees ace Garrett Cole will undergo Tommy John surgery and miss all of 2025. So there's that. Ben Higgins also texted me Colorado State beat Boise State, so I take back everything I said about that.
God, Ben Higgins is all over the show today.
You know, I honestly check. Like, I'm not mad at Ben because he should text me and tell me that I got it wrong, but I'm mad at myself because I check these things, and I don't know how I keep getting it wrong. It's very annoying to me. Very, very annoying to me. Also, Ben came up with this great golf game that Chris and Ben and I are going to play for betting. So we're going to get to all the rules down the road. But I really don't have many bets for you tonight, Sam. There's not much going on for me, at least in the betting world. NBA is hit or miss. San Francisco.
I think OKC and Denver play again tonight.
Great. I get it. It's a big deal. I mean, Jokic.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, we need something to talk about for the next 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, so you want to break down every single angle of OKC?
No, I'll give you the NBA schedule tonight right now. You ready?
I see. It's a full slate. I see it.
You ready? 76ers and the Hawks. 76ers have had a miserable season. Hawks battling for play-in position. Jazz and the Celtics. Celtics coming off a big win against the LA Lakers. Convincing second half. Lakers and the Nets. Luka alone without LeBron.
Alone.
Missing a week or two. Trying to bounce back after a loss to the Celtics in Boston. Hornets at the Heat. The middling Heat. Not much to say about that one, folks.
No.
Wizards and the Raptors in Toronto.
Not much to say about that one, folks.
Not much to say about that one, folks. Pacers and the Bulls. Not much to say about that one, folks.
Thank you. Orlando
Nuggets and Thunder playing for a second straight night, to the best teams in the Western Conference. What will SGA do on the floor against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets?
Are you auditioning for a national radio job right now? Is that what's going on with all of this?
And finally, we have the Spurs and the Mavericks in San Antonio tonight, 5:30.
You know, I wish I had that delivery, because if I try to sound serious, it sounds like
We
I'm
also
making
do
a
have
joke.
the Jalen Brunson-less Knicks in Sacramento against the Kings.
Here's a question for you, Sam. Nikola Jokic. Over the weekend, they played the Suns. They won in OT 149-141. He had 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 22 assists.
NBA record, yes.
NBA record. This dude is going to win the MVP once again. He's unstoppable in the MVP realm. He's averaging 20. I'm rounding up. 29,
we'll see. I don't know who is the betting favorite. Is it Jokic or is it SGA?
Let me see.
Tell me that, Skraby. Pull up your trusty numbers.
I will.
Who's the favorite? Who's the odds-on favorite?
I was seeing a whole right now. They're saying it is SGA still, but
how do you say his name, Skraby?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
There you go. Good job.
Yeah, you're trying to get me, and you're not going to. Chris can't say that name. But Jokic is like, I don't know. He just puts up such good numbers all the time. Like, he's doing things that haven't been done in NBA history. How does he not just keep winning the MVP? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's great. Thunder are great. But SGA is not doing what Jokic is doing.
And finally, we have the Trailblazers in the Bay against the Warriors. Will the Warriors falter at home, or will it be night-night for the Blazers? Tune in tonight at 7 p.m.
He even got the night-night in there like Steph Curry. Love it. Love it. All right, that's it for the Daily Gambit. When we get back, we have so much NFL news to cover. There have been so many trades. There has been signings today. Myles Garrett.
Justin Fields, the Jet, going to lead the Jets to their first Super Bowl title in many, many decades.
Yeah, keep waiting on that one. Also, Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold, no longer a Vikings quarterback. We'll explain when we get back here on 97.3 The Fan. First, some traffic.
From the 855, get
Ecom Bakadaku on the same team, Robin Morg on the same team. Ecom and Morg are fighting on the left side. And now Morg is down to one stock, Ecom down to one stock. Bakadaku has 3 stocks. But Farrell needs to win this one to stay alive. Econ and Robin on the left. Morgan Bakadaku on the right. Morgan, Ecom only have 1 stock. Bagadaku, Robin have 2 stocks. Now Robin, the only one with 2 stocks. Everybody else with 1. Kearney took the first game. And now it's 2-on-1. Actually, Morg is back, so now it's back to full strength on each side. Everybody has 1 stock at this point. Robin looks to be out. Ecom and Bagadaku against Morg. O'Farrell needs this. Morg hanging on. Bagadaku, Ecom both with 1 life. Morg. And there you go. O'Farrell ties it up. Now we go into the 3rd and final game. 3, 2, 1, go! It's this. Each team, O'Farrell and Kearney, have won a game so far in the championship round. Loser comes in second. Winner wins it all. Bagadaku and Robin on the left. Morg and Ecom on the right. Both floating. Ecom goes down. Everybody with 3 stocks except for Ecom, who has 2 stocks. Now Robin down to 2 stocks. Ecom and Bagadaku trying to get back on the stage. Bagadaku does. Ecom does. Again, this is the 3rd game of the championship round. Morg has 3 stocks. Everybody else has 2. Stephanie says, let's go. Robin and Bagadaku are battling on the left. Everybody with 2 stocks now. Even as it can get in the 3rd game of the final match, final round. Now Ecom down to 1 stock. Everybody else has 2. Robin and Ecom on the left, Bagadaku and Morg on the right, but now Ecom and Bagadaku trying to team up. Robin now with 1 stock, Ecom 1 stock. Everybody else with 2. Bagadaku and Morg 2. Ecom no stocks. But we'll be back. Bagadaku and Ecom down to their last stock. Morg and Robin have control right now. Ecom and Bagadaku O'Farrell. Morg and Robin from Kearney. And that's it. Kearney High School takes it in 3 games. So let me just figure this out just to make sure I have everything. But I believe the tournament is now over, and Kearney High School has won it all. O'Farrell has come in second, and E3 Civic High School takes home 3rd place. So thanks to everybody for watching on the stream. Ecom, Bagadaku on the same team, Robin, Morg on the same team. Ecom and Morg fighting on the left side. And now Morg is down to 1 stock, Ecom down to 1 stock. Bagadaku has 3 stocks. O'Farrell needs to win this one to stay alive. Ecom and Robin on the left. Morgan Bagadaku on the right. Morgan Ecom only have 1 stock. Bagadaku, Robin have 2 stocks. Now Robin, the only one with 2 stocks. Everybody else with 1. Kearney took the first game. And now it's 2-on-1. Actually, Morg is back, so now it's back to full strength on each side. Everybody has 1 stock at this point. Robin looks to be out. Ecom and Bagadaku against Morg. O'Farrell needs this. Morg hanging on. Wakadaku, Ecom, both with 1 life. Morg. And there you go. O'Farrell ties it up. Now we go into the 3rd and final game.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th, plus save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples. Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris today. Tony will be back tomorrow. He should be back tomorrow after the game, so we'll see how the game goes and what time he gets back. Chris, if the Aztecs women lose, he's coming home. If they win, he's staying in Vegas one more day, but the game is a little bit later tomorrow night, so he will be on the show for a little bit, and we'll deal with that as it comes. But this NFL news is huge, and we're going to get to it in a second. But this Garrett Cole news is huge as well, because Garrett Cole is going to be out for the year, and he's going to get Tommy John surgery. Now, I was reading in the break, I forgot that he had opted out of his contract, but then kind of opted back in. And so the Yankees would have had, if he opted out traditionally, the Yankees would have had to add an extra extra year to the end of his deal, but they didn't do that. It was like he never ended up opting out or even had the opt out. So he doesn't get that extra year, and he's going to have Tommy John surgery. The Yankees do have insurance on his contract, which is the smart thing to do. But this is a big deal for Garrett Cole because he could have had an extra year. Yeah, I think this is something that Yankees fans are going to be talking about for a little bit.
I mean, yeah, it's horrible news for the Yankees and for Cole, and it's a huge blow to their season and a team that's trying to defend an American League pennant. So it's unfortunate. Look, you don't want the game's best players to go through season-ending injuries. And look, Garrett Cole's going to be out the rest of this year, and I don't know what the timeline is, but I mean, 12 months from now would be
right around now.
Would be right before next season, obviously. So I would assume he's probably going to miss some of 26 as well. That's not for sure, but it will be close, I would think, as to whether he's going to be ready opening day 26. So it's unfortunate, and Yankees dealt a big-time blow. I mean, one of the best pitchers in the game when he's healthy and going right.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep up to date on that. But now,
and like we said,
the NFL music.
Yeah, let's chill on the NFL music. I'm not done talking about Garrett Cole here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were, but yes, let's go into that, Sam. Let's go.
No, but I think to your point earlier, Matt Skraby.
Yes,
it's the first time I've called you Matt
it's
ever.
Weird, yeah.
To your point earlier, it will be interesting to see if the Yankees react now. Without Cole, I mean, without Heel, without Cole, that rotation is in a much, much tougher spot. And if you're a team in the Yankees that wants to compete for an American League East title, I mean, Red Sox are better, Orioles are really good, Blue Jays, we'll see what they do. Red Sox, I already said them.
Did you say the Red Sox yet?
So I did say Red Sox, Orioles, Blue Jays, Yankees, Rays. I was like blanking on the fifth team in the AL East.
No one thinks about the Rays anyway, so
well, Rays are usually at least pretty good.
That's true.
So we'll see. But you would think that they're out there looking for pitching potentially, and that leads us back to the two guys that are going to be free agents at the end of the year in Season King. I think that would be a huge blow to the Padres and their plans in 25 and their current team 2 weeks away from opening day. But again, like we said earlier, if you're Yankees GM Brian Cashman, I am 100% calling AJ Preller and saying what would get it done. And I guess the question is, would there be a deal to be made that would be attractive enough for the Padres to pull off something like that and move, somebody like a Cease or a King? I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I don't hope it happens, but I would be shocked if that conversation is not something that is at least being broached by the New York Yankees, because I just don't see how you lose Cole and you're a team coming off an American League pennant and you claim that you have World Series aspirations and you lose your ace and you don't do anything about it. That would seem like malpractice to me.
Yeah, I malpractice is the word for the general manager if you're not going to address something like this. They didn't bring back Nestor Cortez, so they had kind of an exodus of their pitching.
Traded him for
Devin
Williams.
Traded him? Okay, there you go.
Yes.
Oh, that's even better.
They got Devin Williams.
I mean,
yes.
Devin Williams makes everything better when you trade away Nestor Cortez, but it's very interesting. And like you said, I said it earlier, I don't think anything's going to happen, but you never know. You never know with Mr. AJ Preller. I don't really want to talk about the NFL anymore, so I think we don't have enough time. I'll just quickly go over everything.
Well, hold on. When do we go to break with this segment?
2 minutes.
All right. You want to say? Oh, we're talking to Chris Wehan next.
Here,
right?
I'm going to go over some of this stuff kind of quick.
What's at 4:00?
Ooh, NFL talk, because we're not doing Chris versus the fans today, so that's a
Here we go.
Place.
We'll talk about we'll really get into the NFL at 4, but yes, go ahead.
Okay, because your Jets did sign Justin Fields to a 2-year,
Justin Fields, baby.
Yeah.
MVP season incoming. Finally going to get his big time opportunity. He was in a mess in Chicago. He, wasn't given the right opportunity in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Finally, he goes to a prestigious organization like the New York Jets, a track record of success, a track record of stability, and Justin Fields will thrive under the infrastructure of the New York Football Jets.
That's a very old and decrepit infrastructure at this point. I'm sorry to say. And can we also stop this whole thing, Sam? Because Aaron Rodgers was your quarterback the last couple of years, but I've seen on social media, I don't know why, like Fox, NFL on Fox puts up a picture of Aaron Rodgers in a Giants uniform with Malik Neighbors, and then on the bottom it says, "Who says no to this combo?" I mean, 100 million people say no to that combo. Why are we
Aaron
acting like
Rodgers and Malik Neighbors are going to be a problem?
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like no one asked for Aaron Rodgers and Malik Neighbors to be
Wait, who did Sam Darnold sign with?
Oh, he signed with the Seahawks, actually. So he's going to replace Geno Smith.
Metcalf. Who's the Seahawks' best receiver now? Probably Lockett. He's still a Seahawk, right?
No, Lockett's gone.
Lockett's old. Tyler Lockett's gone?
No, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba is very good.
Right. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, he's very good. But
Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba are going to be a problem.
We got all the voiceover here on 97.3 The Fan today. I don't know why we just don't pay you to be the station voice. I mean, that would kind of be confusing.
They should say that about like radio hosts.
What?
You're going to put Sammy and Skraby together 2 to 6. Oh, Sammy and Skraby, they're going to be a problem.
I think people definitely still comment on whether or not Sammy and Skraby would ever be a thing, but it is today, Sam. It is today. As you can tell, Sam has been in spring training, I think, a little too long. I think he's starting to lose his mind as we slowly go through spring training. Padres diehard says, I guess
anyway, we'll talk more about the NFL at 4:00.
Yes,
we'll really talk about it. We'll give it a good go.
Padres diehard said, I guess anyone who has to spend a significant amount of time with Skraby gets like this. I invite it. I want everybody's unique performances on the Gwynn and Chris show. Okay. Gotta take out the NFL music real quick. Hold on. It's still playing, Sam. Just gotta make sure it's
Justin Fields and
Garrett
Wilson. They're gonna be a problem.
That might actually be a problem. Maybe.
It's
not gonna be a problem?
You know what? I think Justin Fields has something in him.
Yeah, I do too. And like you said, we'll talk about it at 4:00. But up next, it's not football, it's football. We're talking STFC,
job,
baby.
Scrappy. I like that.
Chris Wehan joins us next on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods.
Skraby rocking out to this rejoin bed. I have to say, Sam, this is music made by our listeners. Dispersed.
Really?
Yes. They asked me to listen to some of their music years and years ago. I love this sort of music, and so asked them to send me the instrumental. They said, okay, here we go. And now it plays in the rejoin bed. So Dispersed.
Well, listeners, don't send me your music because I want to play my own during my rejoins and pre and post.
You know, I was shuffling on my Spotify over the weekend, and Skater Boy came up on my shuffle, and I thought about you, Sam.
I use that song, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is so strange that you, of all people, in a Padres pregame, postgame show, use Skater Boy as a rejoin song.
Great song.
I'm not saying it's not a great song.
He was a boy. She was a girl.
Can I make it any more obvious? I've been living, and I think this is how people get around my age. I'm 39, almost 40. I've been living in music from yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Rough.
I've been living in music from high school and college, and I'm that old guy now is like, oh man, music just wasn't as good as it was back in the day.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm getting like that. I am.
Skater Boy, though,
like that.
on the top of the list.
You know what it is? I notice myself listening to I notice myself not being as up on new releases and much more into I know what I like.
Yeah.
I know the artists, the eras of those artists that I like, that I enjoy. I kind of know what I go to.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that because there's a lot of new music every single day. But I'm also listening to this podcast right now that is awesome. So we talked about it the last time you're on the show, but those text messages that come in like, hey, are we still on for dinner? Well, this podcast called Scam Factory tells a story of how these things happen and how some of these people who are scamming you kind of get kidnapped and taken against their will, and then they have to work in these scam factories and
that's not good.
They have to try and scam $2,000 worth of money a day from people. Anyway, it's called Scam Factory. It's pretty good, but that's where those texts are coming from.
Doesn't sound like something I want to listen to.
You should, because then you'll know what's going to happen if someone texts you and says, hey, are we on for dinner? And then you're like, I don't know who this is, but yeah, sure, let's go to dinner. And then you're scammed. Boom. Then it's over. You're going to be shipped off to Myanmar, and you're going to be there forever. That's what's going to happen, Sam. We're going to talk to Chris Wehan here in just a second. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. So SDFC, we got a couple minutes before we go to traffic. I'm waiting for it to be ready. Played Real Salt Lake on Saturday night. They ended up winning 3-1. I was looking at the table, and the table tells me that 7 points is what SDFC has accrued so far through 3 games this season, which is second place in the Western Division. They're 2-0-1. So for me, seriously, probably a better start than I expected them to have. I didn't know what to expect.
Trailing only Vancouver in the Western Conference table.
Yeah, Vancouver's really good this year, I've heard.
And how about this? Taking a gander here at the Western Conference table. I mean, San Diego FC, they've given up 1 goal. And Minnesota's given up 1. St. Louis has given up none. That's the weird part about football, or soccer as us Americans call it. St. Louis City, right, who San Diego FC played, they've not given up a goal, but they only have 5 points. And San Diego FC has given up a goal, and they have 7.
But they also have 2 wins.
Right.
And 1 draw.
Right.
So, you know what? Why don't we bring on the former MLS player to help us break down.
Such great analysis.
To help us break down what happened over the weekend with SDFC after traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Mosley Wealth Management. Just a couple things to mention here. Some debris in the 2 left lanes, northbound 125 before the 52. Also westbound 8 before the 5. Collision over to the right shoulder. How much do you have for retirement in your tax-deferred accounts? Whether it's $100,000 or several million, you'll pay real taxes when you need it. Go to easemytaxbill.com and find out how much money you'll really have and how much you may save if you're smart. easemytaxbill.com. I'm Kelly Danica with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hold on 1 second, Sam. I'm getting Chris Wehan on the phone right now.
Join us here in a moment. Matt Skraby doing a great job of getting Chris on the
There
phone.
we go.
And I'll tell you this. I think Chris and I were like best friends at this point because we talked to Chris on Friday when I was filling in for Woodsy, and now we're talking to Chris here on 97.3 The Fan on a Monday afternoon. Sammy and Skraby. Sam Levitt filling in. Skraby here. And getting ready to talk about San Diego FC with Chris Wehan. Scrabe?
Yes, former MLS player Chris Wehan. He's a local guy as well, so I'm happy to have you on the show and happy to have you help us break down everything that happened over the weekend. But 7 points. We were just talking about the table right now, Chris, and 7 points is second in the Western Conference. So is there a quick way you could break down the point and how much we need to be paying attention to the points in the table?
Yeah, I think it's obviously the number one stat you need to look at with the table. I would say San Diego looking at 7 points. If someone would have said, "Hey, before the season, you guys can take 7 points out of your first three," I think absolutely Mikey Vargas and the team would have taken that for sure. It's a great place to be right now.
Chris, let's talk about, and I think on Friday we focused mainly on the offensive strategy for San Diego FC over their first two matches. But let's talk about what they've done defensively because, looking at the league right now, looking at the Western Conference table, they've given up one goal. I mean, over their first three matches. What has stood out to you about what San Diego FC has done on the defensive side so far through these three matches?
Yeah, I think obviously defensively they've been very strong, but I think, of course, credit goes to the back line. However, for me, I think the biggest thing that is setting San Diego apart are their three midfielders: Anibal Godoy, Jeppe Svetserkov. I feel like I'm going to mess that up, and Luca De La Torre.
That's pretty good.
That's okay.
Luca De La Torre. Those three for me are the workhorse for the team, and they're covering so much ground right now. And I really think it's a collective effort. I think they're playing a very pressing style of play. They're pressing the opponent, and that really starts with the front group as well as the midfield. And so I think, yes, their back line and their goalkeeper are playing fantastic right now. But for me, it's those three in the midfield that are kind of setting them apart and really making them a team to be reckoned with in the MLS.
Chris, let's talk a little bit more about midfield because I asked you something similar, kind of a similar follow-up on Friday where, I think a lot of us, Skraby and I included, but a lot of our listeners are still getting to know soccer, at a comprehensive level, as now we have an MLS team to watch and follow. What does a good, solid midfield typically provide for a team as a whole, both offensively and defensively? Explain why the midfield is so important.
Yeah, it's really going to be your link up play. So, everything's going to go through the midfield. And if your team's playing well, then your midfielders are getting on the ball a lot. And like I said, the way San Diego's playing, they're asking a lot of their midfielders on both sides of the ball. They're asking for them to, press to get forward. And San Diego is playing a 4-3-3 shape. So they're really playing with three midfielders, and they're playing them very centrally. And most teams will play with four midfielders across two center mids and two outside mids. So because they're playing in that 4-3-3 shape, those three midfielders are having to cover a lot of ground because they're essentially down a man, as opposed to the traditional 4-4-2 shape with four midfielders. And because of that, those three have really stood out to me. And so they're doing a lot of the work defensively. They're not in a good midfield is not, is really tight, really compact, not allowing a lot of balls to be played through them. And that's what those three are doing really well. They're keeping the defense from having to be isolated a lot with the opponent's attack. And And those three for me are and then on top of that, when they get in on the ball, Anibal Godoy with his left foot, it's been fantastic linking up play. And Luca De La Torre, he is really an attacking midfielder at heart. And so anytime that he can get into the attack, he's been fantastic in linking up play. So those three for me are really setting the standard for what midfielders should be like.
Talking to Chris Wehan, former MLS player, here about STFC on 97.3, The Fan, Sammy and Skraby. And I just want to talk a little bit about the head coach, Mikey Varas. And Mikey Varas is someone who, you know, I didn't know much about coming in after he was named head coach. Then I started learning about him. But it seems like his temperament is perfect for an expansion team. He seems like he has communicated his expectations to his team, and they are listening. And I just want to know how important it is for a head coach to have the right formula, you know, especially with an expansion team.
Yeah, I think your temperament, what you spoke about right there, is spot on. And I was really in tune with that this last Saturday when they were away to RSL. I thought, you know, when moments got tense, he seemed very calm, cool, and collected. He doesn't seem like he gets too high and gets too low. And I think that's what you need, especially for a first-time franchise. You know, you don't want your manager, you know, feeling like there's a lot of urgency in the team, and you don't want your manager getting too down in low moments. So I think his temperament is perfect for a new franchise. And, you know, I think this is really his biggest job. I know he was the caretaker manager for the U.S. national team for a few games, but I think in terms of his managerial career, this is a massive step for him. And I think he's handling it really well. He came in and had a true identity on, hey, I want to play a pressing style of football, and I want us to be in possession of the ball, but I don't want to just keep the ball just to have a lot of passes throughout the game. I want to play forward fast. And he's gotten his team, I think a good manager gets a team to buy into his vision. And through 3 games, I know it's very early in the season, but this San Diego team is 100% bought into what he's trying to do. And I think I would say that that's a very healthy sign for a new franchise.
Chris, let's play things forward a little bit. A match against Columbus coming up later in the week as San Diego FC goes back on the road. Columbus off to a good start, sitting in third place in the Eastern Conference, 7 points so far, so just like SDFC in that sense. Can you preview what Columbus is, who they have, the stars for Columbus, and what they've done so far this year well?
Yeah. So Columbus over the last 2 or 3 years has been a very good team. They won the MLS Cup a couple years ago. And they're a team under Diego Rossi. He's really their guy that's leading them. They're kind of searching for a bit of new identity. They lost their main goal scorer last year. But Diego Rossi is a player that had a lot of success at LAFC and has had a lot of success for the Columbus Crew as of recently. And so they've been under Wilfred Nancy for the last 3 or 4 years, and he's done a fantastic job there. And it's a very storied franchise in the MLS, and one that has seen a lot of success recently. And so it's going to be this is going to be by far, I would say, you know, knowing what we know now, I think the LA Galaxy wasn't the toughest test for San Diego because of the fact that LA Galaxy is really struggling right now and struggled from the get. I think this is going to be by far San Diego's toughest test. So it'll be interesting to see how they do on the road.
Talking to former MLS player Chris Wehan here on 97.3 The Fan, and I just wanted to find out a little bit more about you, Chris. What were you? What teams did you play for in the MLS, and what was your specialty?
Yeah, so I played for the San Jose Earthquakes in the MLS. Actually played alongside Anibal Godoy, so we were teammates there. So it's been fun to see him continue on his career. But spent a lot of years in the USL, the second division. San Diego Loyal, played against San Diego Loyal a number of times. If some soccer fans are familiar with them, they were San Diego's USL franchise. But I was an attacking midfielder. I was played very similar to Luca De La Torre, so tried to get in front of goal as much as I could. And I would say my specialty was set pieces. So that was something that I took a lot of pride in, hitting set pieces, free kicks from around the box as well.
That's one thing that I don't think people really realize. And when I went to the game, the opener a couple weeks ago, I realized that, soccer is actually a very, very physical sport, and especially down when you're doing the corner kicks and things like that. So, how do you train yourself to be taking those hits? Because you're not wearing pads outside of like shin guards, but you guys are really getting at it near the goal.
Yeah, it's I think soccer, as people are learning the sport, it's physically taxing. Obviously you're running 5, 6, 7 miles in 90 minutes chasing the little ball around. But at the same time, there's a lot of moments of physical battles, whether it's slide tackles or, just like you said, wrestling in the box, trying to defending is hard when you're trying to defend a corner, defend a free kick. You have to get physical with the opponent. You can't let them break free and find free moments to get in the air and get a header. But yeah, there's so many moments throughout a game that are physical battles, and yeah, you got the shin guards these days are maybe 4 inches long. That's about all your protection is. It's a physically brutal sport.
Do they still? Last really weird question from me, but do they still make you like kick your shin guards before you play to make sure you have them?
No,
they
they don't make you kick the shin guards. That's a great question, but they will. The referees do go through. They do a thorough check before the game, where when the players are lined up in the tunnel about to walk on the field, it's typically when they'll do it, and they'll come through and if they feel like a player's not wearing the proper equipment, they will say something, and so these teams are prepared. The training staff has plenty of shin guards and things ready to go in case a player gets called out for maybe wearing too small of shin guards. But trust me, players are trying to do that all the time.
It's like the NFL players who don't wear knee pads. I don't understand why they don't wear knee pads playing football. It would hurt to get kicked in the shin if you're trying to use like small shin guards.
Yeah, absolutely. You should see. I've seen players. They'll get a pair of shin guards and they'll cut them in half because the less equipment, maybe it's just more comfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's just a weird mental thing.
All right. Well, those are the weird questions that I asked, but thank you for entertaining them, Chris. Appreciate your time here on 97.3 The Fan. Hope to have you on again soon.
Yeah, look forward to chatting with you guys again. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, Chris. That was Chris Wehan, former MLS player and USL player here on 97.3 The Fan.
Good job, Skrabe.
Thanks.
How about you do a little research before the guy comes on? Maybe you tell us where he played.
No, I already knew that. I was allowing him to tell his own story. I looked it up earlier.
Sure,
Sam.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have this whole sheet here, and it has all this information, but I didn't look up about the guy who's coming on the show. It was just easier for me.
And then you're like, do they still kick people in the shins to make sure? These are professional soccer players. Lionel Messi plays in this league.
Guess what? Oh, I don't know. Who cares? The NFL still checks to make sure guys are wearing the right stuff. So I felt like that was an amazing question. I think that there's a lot of people out there right now saying, thank you, Skraby, for asking that question. It was the only thing I was wondering throughout that entire interview, and I appreciate you. I also learned something, too, about this interview. It's not head coach, it's manager. So I listened to pick up on the lingo, and it's not head coach, it's manager.
Yeah. Another thing you should have looked up.
Sam didn't even read the document before he got here, so I don't know what he's talking about.
You're like usually the one person or two people like per baseball season that will show up and then say to the manager during a press conference, "Coach, can you tell us?"
I am not that guy.
No.
And if I
like, coach, and we're all standing there like,
does Mike?
It would be so easy for this manager to call you out right now.
Does Mike Schilt give him the eye?
No.
I
don't think Mike Schilt nor Bob Melvin when it was Bob. I don't think I ever saw them react to that. I think all of us react to it more so.
Yeah, it is kind of awkward and funny at the same time when you're like, "Uh-oh, they said."
But I also could understand if you are a journalist who covers other sports that it may just like come second nature, or it may slip out. I would correct myself if I said coach. I will say I have before, like in a baseball setting, it slipped out, and I say inside the locker room. And of course, in baseball, we don't really say locker room. It is a locker room. We say clubhouse, right? It kind of sounds weird when you say locker room. So I've done that before,
that's something I've been
corrected myself.
That's something I've been meaning to talk to you about for years, is your use of the word locker room instead of clubhouse. So I'm glad you brought it up. Sam. You come at me, I'm going to come at you.
This sarcasm
you come at me, I'm going to come at you.
It only goes one way, and it's only entertaining one way.
I know, because it's more like spite for me. It's not sarcasm. NFL talk next. 97.3 The Fan.
Joseph Musgrove in the building.
Give him a round of applause, everyone.
What's up? It's not a bad setup right here, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. How you doing, Joe?
I feel great, man. Yeah, really good. Excited.
I heard you say on the stage today, 2 months away from throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
What are those 2 months going to be like for you?
A lot of patience, you know. I've been working really hard, man. Been really diligent with the rehab. The strengthening stuff has all been, right on par. I've kind of hit every checkpoint with ease, and that was something that was told to me early on. Is like, really give it the time that you need on the front end. You don't throw for 6 months regardless, so don't try to go out and be a hero and get yourself throwing in 4 months. Just do all the rehab, hit all the checkpoints, and then maybe make up some time on the back end. Once I'm consistently throwing, so. Strength feels really good. It's just, getting the shoulder moving again and back in like certain ranges before I start playing catch.
For those who may not know, I don't think it was ever going to be in question whether Joe was going to attack his rehab the way he has already started to attack it. This is one of the most hard-working people I've ever been around. But this is new territory for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a guy who I consider well-educated on anything he's about to walk through.
Yeah.
What was your education like leading up to surgery? I know you must have talked to a billion people. You don't leave stones unturned.
Yeah.
What was that like, getting yourself prepared for this surgery?
Yeah, I got a notebook full of pages of conversations, phone calls, doctor visits. I vetted 3-4 different doctor options. Called everybody I knew that had Tommy John. Called guys that had had it twice, and what the difference was the second time around compared to the first. So.
This is your first, correct?
My first one, yeah. So I feel like I've done, every bit of the homework that I could. I feel like I was as prepared and as, educated on, the process as possible. And now it's just, putting the, the lessons that I've learned from other people and their experiences, along with, the feel and the trust that I have for myself.
We're talking to Joe Musgrove here on 97.3 The Fan. And Joe, last year you called into our show. And
yeah, there we go.
You played a prank on me, and it was a really good prank because my heart stopped a beat for a second, and it still does. But I appreciate you doing that. This is the first time we've actually been able to talk about it.
A little locker room talk. It's all good, baby.
I told him, I told these folks that his eyes almost popped out of his head when Joe got on that phone.
Well, yeah, when I'm told I can't come into the clubhouse, it's a little concerning, considering, I'm not that crazy of a guy, but
no,
anyway.
You're good by us down there. You're welcome
good.
Whenever.
All right. I just wanted to ask you about the mental side of things, because it's got to be hard knowing you're coming into the year you're not going to pitch.
Right.
But you still have to keep working. How do you stay in that zone?
I think, first off, it's a little bit of a relief. It's a chance to kind of step back from, the constant mentality and approach of like being on edge and getting ready and prepared, and just the stresses that, any ball player deals with on the day-to-day of like mechanics feeling out of whack, or as spring gets closer, maybe you haven't hit the checkpoints that you want to hit, or things aren't, as consistent as you like it to be. So not having to deal with those stresses has been super nice. I've been able to focus on life a little bit, got engaged, got a new home, made some moves. So it's been really good. And I think, once I had the surgery, I knew what was ahead of me and, how long the road was. And, it took a little while to get to a good headspace, but I feel like I'm in a great spot now. And, I was saying earlier out on the stage, I'm not claiming to be Superman, but I really believe in my ability to heal and, my ability to, to push my body and get it ready. So I'm preparing and shooting for a return in the postseason at some point. And if, we're a month away from that and I realize it's a long shot, I'm completely fine with, sitting out and, preparing for 26. But I keep myself busy, man. I've really tried to be an extension of the coaching staff and, provide, assistance and help and, experience and, things that help these younger guys and, some of our guys that are transitioning to a starting role. help their careers grow. So, keep myself busy and keeping tasks, to have, at my fingertips, things to work on has been a good relief for me.
Joseph Musgrove in the building.
Give him a round of applause, everyone.
What's up? It's not a bad setup right here, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. How you doing, Joe?
I feel great, man. Yeah, really good. Excited.
I heard you say on the stage today, 2 months away from throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
What are those 2 months going to be like for you?
A lot of patience, I've been working really hard, man. Been really diligent with the rehab. The strengthening stuff has all been, right on par. I've kind of hit every checkpoint with ease. And that was something that was told to me early on is like, really give it the time that you need on the front end. You don't throw for 6 months regardless. So, don't try to go out and be a hero and get yourself throwing in 4 months. Just, do all the rehab, hit all the checkpoints, and then, maybe make up some time on the back end, once I'm consistently throwing. So strength feels really good. It's just, getting the shoulder moving again and back in like certain ranges before I start playing catch.
For those who
on the planet and Sam Levitt on 97.3 The Fan. I thought that my shin guard questions were decently fun, but apparently people are very angry at me for asking these questions like I was making a joke out of the interview. I definitely wasn't. People ask me, hey, you need to talk more soccer. So I talk more soccer, and then they make fun of me for talking more soccer.
I think it's fine. I think maybe it went a little long, kind of with the shin guard questions following the where did you play, what position did you play question. See, like, I took one of his answers. See, Skraby, this is
I don't want to go down your road. What I'm saying is it was the first time he has ever been on this show in the history of the show. We got to get to know the guy a little bit.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, you're just saying that so I don't freak out anymore. You're trying to get me back in control, which is not going to happen.
As the kids say, you're crashing out.
I like that, actually. Crashing out.
That's what the kids say.
That's pretty good. I'm actually doing this coming weekend. I'm going to be going to spring training on Sunday. And then on Saturday, I'm going to be doing play-by-play. It's not really play-by-play. It's more of like conversating during a Minecraft tournament for high schools here in the area. Sam's laughing, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun.
Do you play Minecraft?
No.
Then how do you know what to say?
I have been studying for the past couple weeks. I've been watching Minecraft things. I have done all of that. So
so you're going to be here Sunday.
Sunday, yes. I'm driving out Sunday
So we
morning.
apparently may get dinner on Sunday night, is what you're saying.
Not anymore. Not anymore. No, it's all good. Yeah, we'll probably get some dinner on Sunday night. Chris and I are driving out on Sunday. Tony's obviously already there. And we're going to be doing some interviews from...
Now, you and Chris are driving together.
No. This is a major issue for us because I am not I'm not a comfortable human being like on long road trips or anything where I have to be with someone for a long period of time.
Did Chris broach the topic of you two driving together, or you just know without even saying it that you're not driving together?
We broached this 2 years ago because I asked not to drive with Chris to Phoenix. It was me who said I didn't want to drive with Chris to Phoenix. And then it all worked out where we took two cars, and honestly,
right, that's a good point. That's a good point. Having two cars. That's a good point. Now you're not tethered to one another while you're here.
That's very true. He usually brings his wife with him, and his wife takes a couple days off, and so she gets to use his car, and then we go in my car.
That's a good point. Yep.
The one thing I'm worried about is on Tuesday after the show, we got to drive home. So, I don't really.
What can I ask you a question? Why are you driving home on Tuesday night? Is that a Chris thing? Is that a you thing? Is that they don't want to pay for the hotel? Another night thing?
I think that's it, Sam. I think that's the thing. It's not me or Chris. I would have gladly stayed another night in the Peoria area, but we are not, and we are driving home.
I mean, you can stay at the Airbnb here.
Nah, I'll come home. I got to do a show on Wednesday.
There is a couch here, but it's not a very big couch.
Oh, yeah. I'm almost 40. If I slept on a couch, Sam, my back would be on fire when I woke up in the morning. Come on. It's just how it goes these days. Diesel says Skraby should have educated himself on soccer topics as much as he did Minecraft research.
That's facts.
That's facts. I hate you sometimes. We're not doing Chris versus the fans today because Chris is not here. So we will get to our Alanis Morissette qualification tomorrow at 5:30. We're going to announce the biggest fan. At the end of this hour at 4:30-ish, we're going to do the Big Five. The Padres just ended up losing, so we'll talk about that in the next segment. But NFL talk is back. We're actually going to get into it this time. And lots of crazy things happening in the NFL today. Devontae Adams signs with the Rams, 2 years, $46 million, with 26 of that guaranteed. He's coming back to the West Coast. Sam Darnold reached an agreement with the Seahawks, 3 years, $110.5 million, including $55 million guaranteed. Now, Geno Smith was traded to the Raiders last week, so that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, this is a perfect deal for Sam Darnold. He cashed in on a good year last year, and he's going to make $30-something million a year. He's not the top of the list quarterback in the NFL, so I think a $35 million AAV works really well. Myles Garrett, here's the one, Sam, that is really confusing to me, because Myles Garrett has been saying since the end of last season that he does not want to play for the Browns anymore. And he said that he will do whatever it takes to not play for the Browns anymore. Well, over the weekend, he signed a 4-year, $160 million extension through 2030 worth $40 million a year, including $123.5 million in guarantees. The one thing that I don't like here, I don't mind that he stayed with the Browns, but just don't say all the things that you say, like, I'm never going to play for the Browns. I don't care how much money they offer me. I'm not going to play for the Browns. Well,
money talks.
Money does talk, so don't say it, because Myles Garrett's a very good football player. I mean, he said that he wants to go find a situation where he can win a Super Bowl. This is not the situation where he's going to win a Super Bowl. He should have gone in a different direction, I think, at least. Bills quarterback Josh Allen, they agreed to a record-setting 6-year, $330 million extension after his MVP performance. I think that this is well-deserved. He should be one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in the league.
I read something about that deal being fairly team-friendly. I'm not sure how to put it.
Oh, so basically, yeah, because in the NFL, they've been doing a lot of these things where they restructure a contract and it ends up like giving you $30 million on the cap. But yeah, it is team friendly because it weights things out over the life of the contract. And the Browns actually did this last week with Deshaun Watson. They had so much money tied up in him that they restructured it and they put a bunch of money. They were allowed to get a bunch of money on the cap, but Josh Allen deserves to get paid. I mean, that's just the facts of it. Now, DK Metcalf traded to the Steelers, and the Steelers paid a lot for DK Metcalf. Per NFL Network, the Seattle Seahawks traded Metcalf to the Steelers for a 2025 second-round draft pick. They also signed him to a 5-year, $150 million contract extension with the Steelers. It's going to include 4 new years at $132 million and run through 2029. He only had 1 year left, but the deal was reportedly agreed upon before or just days after he said he wanted to be traded. I like DK Metcalf. I just don't know 5 years, $150 million is really the way to go for the Steelers, but I guess that's what it is. The price for a good wide receiver in the NFL is this. Sam.
Yeah, I guess the Steelers quarterback is still Russell Wilson, right?
I believe he has to be. They don't really have a quarterback right now.
Well, it doesn't much help to have DK Metcalf.
No, because Justin Fields went to the Jets, 2 years, $40 million.
Jets.
So there's a lot of movement going on, and like if we go back to the Sam Darnold thing, this helps answer questions for the Vikings because they have why am I forgetting his
Michigan
name? JJ. No.
JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy. Jeez.
Be an NFL fan one time, Scrape.
Will you stop with this today? J.J. McCarthy was hurt last year. They said that he was going to be the future of the team, and so Sam Darnold.
And they also have Vikings have Daniel Jones as well.
They do have Daniel Jones, but
Danny Dimes.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me. Daniel Jones, I don't think he's as bad as everybody else thinks he is. I think he was stuck in a terrible situation in New York, and he's still got some sort of playing left in his body, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, that's all the big news around the NFL. I mean, the NFL is the only sport, Sam, where we can talk about it year round, and for some reason, it just makes news all the time, all of the time. Like baseball tries in the off season, but they're not necessarily the greatest.
Well, I'll say this, and I know players are never going to agree to this, MLB players,
salary
but
cap?
I much prefer. Well, that number one is we'll see when the new CBA has to be renegotiated. What happens with that? Because it seems like we're going to have a battle about that.
Yep.
But one thing I do like about the NFL and the NBA is I like that free agency is fast and furious and quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it. I like this style of free agency. I'm not a fan of in Major League Baseball this long, drawn out process that takes forever. It's a never-ending, months-long slog of rumors, and it goes into spring training now. It just is it's an exhaustingly long process, and to me, it just loses a lot of juice of your off season. I know the winter meetings, gives you a little something, maybe a little, kind of flurry of activity. I prefer this in the NFL and NBA. I like as a fan knowing, heading into the final couple of months of the offseason, knowing, who's on my team, having a real idea of that. I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion.
No, it makes
I like
sense.
it. I like it better this way. I like the flurry of activity. I like the fast and furious. I think baseball's got really out of hand with how long this takes. But if you're the players union in Major League Baseball, look, you don't want a deadline like that's been talked about before.
Yep.
A transaction deadline during free agency during the off season. Why would you want that? Because once you put a deadline on something, that means that teams can say, oh well, it's either sign by such and such date or you're not going to play next year, right?
Yeah.
So you have more control about what you can pay people. So they'll never agree to it, but I just prefer this, I really do, than what has become such a long, drawn out MLB free agency.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we start hearing about it at the winter meetings, even before the winter meetings, but then the winter meetings have all these rumors, and then you might not see anything until like a month later. But you're right. That would be interesting if they were to like shorten the free agency period down to like a month. But as you said, players don't want that because then they'll have to sign for what they don't want to. All of that. Nate says MLB needs to take notes. NFL is something every month to keep the fans engaged. It's perfect marketing. I also think the NFL has lightning in a bottle where everything works for them. It just doesn't. They're on their own level of popularity amongst the four popular sports here in the United States. Okay, let's see. It's time for break. When we get back, I got to get Sam's opinion on this LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith stuff. I talked about it on the Skraby Show on Friday.
Let's talk about it.
All right, we'll talk about LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith.
Just talk?
The entire world has an opinion on what happened with LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. So that's what we will talk about on the Sammy and Skraby Show, filling in for Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight back left.
Straight back left.
Straight on that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfuss and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Beaver, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over there. So.
What are you thinking of seeing it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, who not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight at the back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfuss and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Beaver, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over here. So.
What are you thinking of seeing it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool.
Back here in the Odyssey Palace, at least Skraby is in the Odyssey Palace. Sammy Lev out there in Peoria, Arizona. The Padres lost to the Reds today, 9-3. I thank you, Sam. This was something that I was concerned about. This loss today, they gave up 2 runs in the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. Jose Iglesias played today, so that was nice. Gavin Sheets homered, Fernando homered, but otherwise, Michael King went 2 2/3, gave up 3 runs, walked 3. Kind of a forgettable day for the Padres today.
Let's see here.
Well,
Catching
not for
up on the
Gavin
box
Sheets.
score.
Not for Gavin Sheets. Sorry.
Yeah, Michael King, like you said, 2 2/3, 3 runs, 3 hits. He walked 3. Jason Adam, 2/3 of an inning, 2 earned runs given up, 2 hits. Bradley Rodriguez did not have a great appearance, though in Major League camp. Inning, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. Struck out a batter, walked nobody. So, not a great day for the pitching staff in Peoria. But the good news is that
it's spring training.
It is spring training.
And it doesn't
Jose
matter.
Iglesias made a throwing error. Tyler Wade got caught stealing. Padres went 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. But Toddy and Sheets had a home run.
Yes. Sheets did.
Toddy and Gabby.
Toddy and Gabby, is that what they call each other? They have a radio show within the team. Toddy
and Gabby. Jake Cronenworth had a double.
Yes. And that's about it, huh?
That's about it. That's all I got for you. Didn't see a pitch.
I will say that the Hunter Green was in for 4 innings, so they at least faced major league pitching, like legit major league pitching. He struck out 5, gave up 2 hits. He had a good day. So it wasn't like they were facing a double-A pitcher. They were facing a guy who's going to start on opening day. But that's what happened.
Yeah, Hunter Green, Toddy's home run was against Green, and then Gavin Sheets' home run was against Anthony Santillan, I think.
Santillan?
Am I getting his full name right? Oh, sorry, Santillan. You're probably right. So what did I say, Anthony? Tony Santillan.
Tony Santillan.
Tony Santillan.
He's a major league guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind
of a traveler.
I think up and down. Yeah, reliever type. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get back to the Padres game a little bit. Just not very much going on with the Padres today. Now, LeBron and Stephen A. Smith have taken over the news cycle for us, and that's because Stephen A. Smith was at a Lakers-Knicks game, I believe, and LeBron came up to Stephen A., who was sitting courtside, and kind of, pulled him aside, not really, in front of everyone and said, "Hey, leave my son alone. You're talking a lot of trash about my son." These are paraphrased things that no one really knows what was said. But I took the side of Stephen A. Smith is not doing anything wrong by criticizing an NBA player. Bronny is an NBA player who was drafted in the first round. But apparently, reading reaction over the weekend, I am way off base because a lot of people are saying that Stephen A. Smith is too over the top on Bronny, and I just don't get it, Sam.
Yeah, I think there's points I think to be made with both sides of this. I think when LeBron helped orchestrate one way or another his son getting drafted by the Lakers and given an opportunity at times to be on the Lakers themselves and get time in NBA games and take the floor together, which is well within LeBron's right. He's earned that status to pull those strings. I think once Bronny is playing at that type of level, I think as a player, as an NBA player, he becomes fair game for NBA type criticism, as his father has always been accustomed to, right? Whether you think the coverage of LeBron over the last 20 something years now has been fair or not. And there's probably a mix of that. He's been playing forever. We've known LeBron since he was in high school. I mean, this is going on, 25 to now, 30 years of knowing about LeBron James. I mean, it's crazy that he's still playing at this type of level. So I do think that talking about Bronny in a player sense is fair. I do understand from LeBron's perspective when Stephen A. starts making comments of the, I'm telling you as a father, when you're talking about kind of the father part of it, addressing LeBron as a father, more so their father-son dynamic relationship. I think that's where it gets a little tricky, and I think that is the part that LeBron probably didn't appreciate and like.
Yeah, you can't talk about someone's being a father because you're not in his shoes. You don't know.
Yeah. Now, if it were like, I would say the situation's so weird because it's such a unique situation.
It is.
I would say if, let's say Bronny was more a part of the, let's live in fantasy land. Let's say Bronny was more a part of the Lakers, right? And let's say he was a rotation guy, and Stephen A is just criticizing his play. Stephen A is criticizing his role on the team, more a basketball sense. Then I think LeBron has absolutely no right to then go to Stephen A and say, keep my son's name out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, hey, your son's an NBA player. I mean, he's either an NBA player or he's not. It's fair game. I think what Stephen A said, I think the alluding to LeBron as a father, I think is what really irked him.
Okay.
I think that maybe is a little bit different. But in a general sense, I guess I would fall on the side of LeBron. You orchestrated this, for better or worse, for your son to get drafted by the team you play for, to get him on the floor early in the season.
Just make history.
You got to accept what comes with that. And we live in a climate and a culture and a sports media landscape where there are constant opinions being thrown out about everything. And I guess I would err on that side of being like, look, this is, and LeBron's no stranger to this kind of climate. He's been dealing with it for forever now. So I err on the side of Stephen A, I think, but I understand why LeBron would have a problem with it.
I didn't think
and he's protecting his kid. It's his kid.
I didn't think about the whole, talking about LeBron being a father. I do think that's out of bounds. You can't be talking about that stuff. You can be talking about the NBA stuff. But when LeBron approaches Stephen A at a game, and Stephen A said this last week, he has my number. There's plenty of ways that he can get in touch with me.
Yeah, but you know what? I give LeBron
directed that LeBron's going to go down there and talk to him.
No, I disagree with that. I give LeBron credit for actually going face to face with Stephen A. Like, I'm fine with that. To me, that's more the thing to do than call Stephen A.
Don't you think that
nobody
makes
can see it?
That makes more of a wave for people to talk about, and it brings more attention to everything?
It does. Yeah. I mean, and LeBron knows that. LeBron knows that people are going to see it and film it, that's going to get out. Look, also Stephen A., saying I wasn't going to address this, but it's got so viral.
That's also
ridiculous.
A huge,
Let me tell you,
thing.
Stephen A. one way or another, whether somebody filmed it or not, or anybody else knew, was going to tell the world that LeBron, addressed him on.
I think it would be bigger news if Stephen A. didn't bring this up and was like, "Hey, it was just a conversation between us." That would be the bigger news to me.
Yeah.
Because he knew what he was getting when LeBron walked. And my conspiracy mind also thinks, like, and I know it's not true, but what if LeBron and Stephen A. are in this together, just kind of going back and forth?
They could be.
Yeah, I if I'm Bronny, well, I'm not Bronny.
Look, I think here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that I think Stephen A. Smith has the ability to criticize Bronny and talk about him because Bronny's in the NBA. This is not just LeBron's son. Your son is an NBA contracted player.
Yes.
Okay. Whatever contract he's on.
The first round.
Yeah. 2A, second round. Okay. But your son is an NBA drafted player.
Yeah.
And I think LeBron has the right to want to defend his kid one way or another. And that led to that confrontation. So,
all right.
I think both guys, I actually think, have the right to do what they did. LeBron can defend his kid and have a problem with things, and Stephen A. can talk about it.
That is true. That is the funny part about it.
Did you see Stephen A.'s new extension at ESPN?
Not
it's like 5 years, $100 million.
Oh, yeah. And he's also going to talk politics now, too. So he got a clearance with that. I don't think any of these guys are worth that money. I don't know who is religiously tuning in to Stephen A. Smith every single day paying his salary. I don't know.
Yeah,
$20 million a year is insane, and especially for ESPN, who's losing tons of money.
Very popular.
It is very popular. I'm seeing on the chat that Stephen A. Smith is 5 feet tall. That is not true.
That's not true.
I saw him at Super Bowl Radio Row.
Stephen A. didn't look much shorter than LeBron.
No, he's tall. He's like 6'4". He's tall.
He's a tall guy.
He's much taller than you think he is. He's not 5 feet tall. He's actually
I like Stephen A. I'll tell you, I like Stephen A. All right, I like showman. I like pizzazz. I like personality. It's the same reason I like Chris Mad Dog Russo. Give me a little show. Give me a little pizzazz, a little personality.
Okay.
I like Stephen A. I'm a Stephen A. fan.
Me too. I like talking about Stephen A.'s crazy takes as well because it takes pressure off
$20
me for a
million
second.
a year.
Can I get that?
I'll tell you what, he earns it though. They got him on everything.
They really do. I turn on the TV and I'm like, how does he do this? Like Sam, you work 7 days a week.
Hey,
sometimes
you're paying a guy $20 million a year to talk on TV. You better have him doing everything.
Yeah.
You want to know what time is it?
It's break time.
We have. Oh, it is.
Can
I say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
You know what? You saw around. Did you guys talk about how Around the Horn got canceled?
We did when it actually got canceled, and then it took like 3 weeks to get canceled. But yes,
okay. Well, it got canceled. I was thinking about this. I'm amazed that Tony Reali, who I love,
yeah,
isn't it amazing that they never made him do anything else for ESPN? He only hosted Around the Horn.
That is amazing.
Name something else. I mean, I don't know why that is. Like, they never asked him, hey, you want to host Sports Center? Hey, you want to call games? Hey, you want to do such and such? You want to host a studio show? He is only hosted Around the Horn forever.
That is very true. I didn't ever think about that.
But I guess like Tony Kornheiser, Mike Wilbon, they've all.
But does Tony Reali have like a different job? Is he a radio host on the side?
I don't think so. Those two shows, PTI and Around the Horn, amazingly went very unchanged for decades.
And they worked.
Like very unchanged. It really is incredible.
It's one of the few things that can go unchanged throughout the years. I also saw, we were talking about this last week, that Tony Reali was asked if he would take the NFL Red Zone job because
I saw that
because Scott Hansen might be going to NBC to do Olympic coverage and some other stuff. I don't. Chris and I said this. I know that someone's going to have to take the job, but I don't know who can take that job and be as good as Scott Hansen. It might take a little bit.
I could do it. And hey, NFL Red Zone, give me a call.
Give him a call. I'll go up there with you.
And I won't talk as much as Scott. I like Scott. He does a good job, but sometimes Scott, I'm like, Scott, we see, we can hear. Just stop. No more talking. Let me just watch.
Yes.
And NFL fans, I promise you, I will get out, stop talking when I need to.
Well, at least it goes in one place because it doesn't
NFL Network.
It doesn't happen
You have my number.
All right. Big Five
Sundays
is next. Yeah, you're kind of busy on Sundays, but not throughout the whole football season.
Not during the NFL season.
That's true. All right. Big Five, when we get back, Blake Snell said something about the Giants that he's really sad about. We'll tell you about it on the other side on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on The Fan.
And then there's all these different desserts to choose from. Ben goes, Woodsy, guess what?
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question, long hair, long beard, have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man.
I don't think so.
That's great.
Why is that?
Just changing it up. Why not?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key. How does it perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good and getting ramped up. But I feel like I'm on track.
How do you deal in terms of getting yourself ready each and every year? You know, ball players are notorious for always trying to figure out how to get a little bit better. You're probably one of the most consistent guys in our league. Is there as much a focus on finding ways to get better, or is the focus how to continue on the path that you've been on, which is a guy who can get in a lot of innings every year?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what part of the offseason I'm in and, you know, what I'm trying to work on. Like specifically this offseason, I've made a little mechanical adjustment, tinkering with some new pitches. But the bulk of it is just getting my body ready, really. I mean, that's the main focus, main priority. So I kind of know where I need to be in terms of like my velocity and bullpens and building up and all that. So I always like to think I'm adding. I'm definitely working on new pitches and exciting stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I kind of know that my four-seamer and my slider and my curveball are kind of going to be my main pitches.
Right.
So it's like, no matter what, that's my base and foundation, and everything from there is just tinkering and just seeing if I can get a little bit better.
We're talking to... All of a sudden, my mic over there.
There you go.
Sorry. We're talking to Dylan Cease here,
Don't
Padres
panic.
starting pitcher. I wasn't panicking.
You look like you panicked.
I was panicking for one half.
He made me panic.
Did I look like I panicked?
You panicked a little bit, that's
all
all
right.
right.
Well, if Dylan says I panicked, then I panicked. I'm going to have to ask the question about, and I know you've been asked this today, but your name has been a part of a lot of trade rumors this year. I think Padres fans want you to stay here in San Diego. See, right there? How do you deal with that? Because I would imagine that would be hard.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's my second year in a row dealing with it, so I got experience now. It's just part of the business, I guess. Really, wherever I go, I'm gonna make the best of the opportunity. I love San Diego and I want to be here, so it's like if I don't go anywhere, I love it here. And if they trade me, then I just have to go make the best of it wherever I go.
Now, Dylan, you talked a little bit about working on new pitches and mechanics. For you, how long does a mechanical change take to be something where you don't have to think about it anymore?
Yeah, and that depends. This specific scenario, I'm working on an upper half thing, a glove thing. So I don't know. It's kind of new territory for me.
Yeah. So you're kind of figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, but it really gets to the point where it feels good, and then from there it's just ramping up the intensity. And because anytime you do something at a higher power, higher speed, it's like a new feeling altogether. So I can sit and train it one way, but until I'm throwing 98 with
and
it,
doing in game speed,
And a lot of it, is kind of like learning my body, and then I'll throw a pitch, and it's like, oh, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Like specifically, if I'm throwing a four-seam fastball and I'm trying to throw it just through somebody, but it's yanked, it's like, okay, something happened right there. I don't know, something came off. I didn't use my legs.
You could just feel something different about it.
And then you see the shape of the pitch. So a lot of it's just gaining feedback from what the ball's doing, and then trying to manipulate my body to see, like, oh, okay, when I do this, the ball goes this way, and just see if I can't ingrain that.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question: long hair, long beard. Have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man,
I don't think so.
That's great.
Why is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key. How does it perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good and getting ramped up. But I feel like I'm on track.
How do you deal in terms of getting yourself ready each and every year? You know, ball players are notorious for always trying to figure out how to get a little bit better. You're probably one of the most consistent guys in our league. Is there as much a focus on finding ways to get better, or is the focus how to continue on the path that you've been on, which is a guy who can get in a lot of innings every year?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what part of the offseason I'm in. And
our biggest fan being announced. A new batch of names in there for everyone. I know that I take a lot of heat for the name being announced, and I have made everyone aware that I am not in charge of the names whatsoever. So we got some new names. We'll announce that a little bit later. There's a funny chat on the YouTube chat right now that came in during the break. If you want to watch us, you can just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube, and I'm going to put up this chat, and it says, Sam was saying that Scott Hansen talks too much, and TRM1 said there's something so funny about Sam complaining about Scott talking too much. Sam is not. He is not short of words. We all know this. He's not short of words, which is a good thing for a radio host to have.
Well, the funny thing is when I do pre and post, it's a lot different because I'm alone.
Yes.
But so that's a totally different thing.
Totally different. I agree.
But when I do segments with you guys, yes, like you could ask me a question and I could go for 3-4 minutes without taking a breath. And then sometimes I'll actually apologize mid-answer for how long the answer is, and then continue.
But that's why we love you.
To keep
that's
talking.
That's why we sometimes in studio, I'm gonna give out a secret from Tony, Chris, and I. Sometimes we count how many questions we need before we're done with the end of the interview. I think the lowest so far is three for like a 12-minute span.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But here's the other secret, and I'm pretty confident in this. I think that you guys and Ben and Woods, I think that you enjoy there is a part of you that enjoys having to do as little work during that segment as possible. Like I'm giving you.
Why do you think the guys have you on
off.
as much?
Right. Like I'm essentially giving you a segment off.
Yes. No, you're right, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Sam. I mean, he always has stuff to say, and it's always good stuff. But calling out Scott Hansen was calling the kettle black there a little bit, I think. So good comment, TRM.
Well, what do the listeners think out there? Do they think I talk too much in general when I'm with another show?
I'm not going to answer that.
You can comment, you can tweet, you can Instagram, you can TikTok me.
Yes, TikTok. All right, we have the Big Five coming up. We need to start now to make sure Sam gets all of his thoughts in before the end of the segment. But first, we got a little bit of traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by San Diego Football Club. Several accidents to mention here, guys. One of them on northbound 805 before the King Freeway. It's over to the right shoulder. Also northbound 15 before Balboa, a crash involving several vehicles. Everything's in the center divide. In the North County, northbound 15 past Old Highway 395. Collision over to the right shoulder. It's football season. San Diego's FC's inaugural campaign is officially underway at Snapdragon Stadium. Don't miss the next match Saturday, March 15th, as SDFC takes on reigning league's Cub champion Columbus Crew. Visit sandiegofc.com/tickets to secure your seats today. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station. Night.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Reviews are in. You're all good, Sam. You're all good. Everybody loves your talking. Although Ridgy Mama said way too much talking from you. And you know what? Our worst critics, Sam, are actually people that are the closest to us, because my mom texted me and said, "Why does your face look so red on the YouTube screen?" Mom, why did you text me that? It was not that red, so now I had to turn on the light. It's just like, now I'm thinking about how red my face is. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate that. My mom loves me, but shouldn't say that to me. Sam, do you get texts on the air from like your parents?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Do they ever tell you that you look terrible while you're doing the show?
They've told me sometimes I look tired.
Oh, well, that's another way of saying terrible. I used to hear that all the time when I was a drinker. "Oh, Skraby, you look really tired." Yep, I'm really tired. Everybody, I'm really tired. Jax, what happened to your face? All right, let's get into it.
Number 5.
It was reported earlier today, Padres pitcher Johnny Brito is not going to be a part of the rotation race for the start.
Who reported that?
AJ Cassavell.
I think I tweeted it. Okay, but
He did.
Sure,
Sam
Scrape.
Levitt did. I saw this on Sammy Lev's Twitter earlier this morning, but Johnny Brito not going to be a part of the rotation race for the start of 2025. They're more focused on him being a long reliever from the bullpen. Sam, do you think Brito still has his best pitching ahead of him?
I hope. I mean, I don't think today was a surprise. By the way, I don't think it was like Mike Schultz confirmed it today, just based on a question that he was asked. But I don't think it's any surprise that Johnny's not in the starter mix. And I think it may be a little bit of need because Brian Hoeing doesn't appear to be particularly close to coming back. So you want a long man, Johnny Brito, certainly would fit that billing. I hope, Johnny was okay last year. There were plenty of ups and downs. Wouldn't say it was stellar. So I certainly hope the best is ahead for him, and he can, hopefully excel in a long man type of role if he's on the opening day roster.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Is his biggest problem his control? Burrito?
It's part of it, yeah.
Because
it's part of it.
I feel like if he could find some control, he would be a really good pitcher because he has the other stuff that.
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah, he got hit quite a bit, so we'll see. I hope certainly based on what he did last year, I would hope the best is ahead of him.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Number 4.
Blake Snell recently discussed his free agency this offseason and revealed the Giants never reached out to him during the winter, which really surprised Blake Snell. He said, quote, "I know Bob loves me, Bob Melvin, and I'm really close with Logan and Chappie, so I was shocked. I thought they'd come after me right away. I really liked it there. I was happy there, but they never even said anything to me," end quote. "We all know it worked out, and he went to the Dodgers, but I'm up first. Why do you think the Giants chose not to bring him back?" Number one, money, because he was going to command a lot of money. Number two, they've already seen that it takes like at least 2 months for Blake Snell to get going and be the guy that we all want him to be for $182 million. I just think that the Giants didn't want to bring him back because they didn't have the money, and they kind of knew that. To not even contact him, though, is slightly strange.
I don't know that the Giants don't have the money. They ended up signing Willie Adames to a pretty big deal, and they've been trying to give out money for years.
That's true. They tried to get Aaron Judge and
they basically had problems getting people to take it, getting the guys they want to take it. So I don't know how much it was about not having money.
You're probably right.
I don't know. That's interesting that they would, if Blake's telling the truth here, that they never would reach out, period. That does seem odd. I'm not sure why they would want out of the Blake Snell business. I understand Blake, comes with certain things that he's been, as far as sometimes a slow starter, sometimes inconsistent, but when he is rolling and when he's at the peak of his powers, he's one of the best in baseball, as we saw in San Diego. And I think he's worth the money he got. I do think when Blake is right, he's unbelievable. So I don't know. I'm not totally sure why the Giants would never reach out to him and seemingly want out of the Blake Snell business without a discussion. That is odd to me. And I don't know why that would be.
Yeah, I don't know either. Buster Posey seems like a guy who gets along with everyone. So it's not like I can think of them not liking Blake Snell or anything like that. But that would be.
And by the way, even though he got off to a slow start, dealt with some injury stuff.
Really strong.
Well, that, and also, look, a lot of us talked about that, Blake is, like kind of a creature of habit. Like him signing so late, he was kind of behind, and I don't think a lot of us were shocked that it took him a little bit to get going. But with that said, the Giants knew that when they signed him last year. So, if I were them, I'd want to sign him and have him situated, and hopefully you're getting the best version of Blake Snell for the duration of the contract and in 2025 as well. I don't know. It's curious. I'm surprised by that too.
Number 3.
former Padre and Dodger and many other teams, Trayce Thompson is entering his 15th major league season and is now trying to catch on with the Boston Red Sox, not Red Six. And he's making his case for it because he has been Boston's most consistent hitter this spring, going 9 for 23 with a team-leading 6 home runs and 12 RBIs. His 6th home run came yesterday against Braves right-hander Bryce Elder, which I always see Bryce Elder giving up home runs. It's just an unfortunate thing for me when I'm reading for him, actually. There are some questions as to Wilyer Abreu's availability for opening day after a gastrointestinal virus caused him to lose a bunch of weight. So let's take that out of the equation, Sam, that if Wilyer Abreu's out, then Trayce Thompson likely will be the guy. Take that out of it. Should 6 home runs and 12 RBIs in spring training be enough to force his way onto a roster?
Not in Trayce's case. I mean, Trayce has been around a long time.
15 seasons.
He's hit a lot of home runs at AAA. He's hit home runs in the major leagues as well. I mean, he's had stretches where he's been a very productive power hitter, but has never really been able to stick with one team for a super extended period of time. I don't know. I think I've seen enough of Trayce Thompson at this point in the major leagues to not get too carried away with a great spring.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, I mean, 6 home runs and 12 RBIs is great, but I don't, like you said, it's a full season that he needs to be this guy, and it's not going to happen. And like you said,
I mean,
he's been
on a lot of teams, and he's been in baseball a long time. He's had a lot of AAA success. You know, he's kind of one of those classic kind of, quadruple A up and down guys, which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't get, if I'm the Red Sox front office, I'm not getting carried away with a great spring from Trayce. What, did I say that right? Great spring from Trayce. That was hard to say. Trayce Thompson, whose brother, by the way, is in just a brutal situation now in Dallas.
Clay?
I do feel for his brother.
He went from the Warriors to the Mavs, and then the Mavs fell apart while he's there. Yeah, that is a brutal situation.
He's in a brutal situation.
They're not getting out of that anytime soon.
I'm sure that when Clay signed there, he did not think that before the end of the first year of his deal that Luka would be gone.
I can only imagine that realization.
That. Oh my goodness.
That realization that, wow, I'm stuck.
My goodness.
Number 2.
All right, the Dodgers are coming off of a World Series championship, but they're making Dave Roberts the highest paid manager in Major League Baseball. He has agreed to a 4-year deal with the Dodgers worth a reported sum of $32 million, over $32 million, which will surpass the AAV for Craig Counsell when he signed with the Cubs last season. They've been discussing this for a while, and he's going into his 10th season. They wanted to get it done before they left for Japan. And they did. So I'm up first. Should Dave Roberts be the highest paid manager in baseball? I think so. I mean, he's deep into every single playoff. Even if they lose, he still gets his team into the playoffs. He still has his team win 90 games a year. As much as I don't like his antics with Manny last year, I think that he should be the highest paid manager in baseball. What do you think, Sam?
Feel like Dave's has to deal with a lot of expectations, a lot of personalities, a lot of star players, but I think Skraby, you could manage that team and then win
I would hope so.
95 plus.
I would hope so.
I'm going to say no because I think the job is
too easy.
I guess. I also just want to take the other side of what you're saying. So
no, that's fine.
Make you look like the Dodger lover.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the Dodger lover, so I'll make you look like the Dodger lover.
And Chris isn't here, and he actually is a Dodger lover, so it's unfortunate.
I'll say no.
I'll get out of there. All right, Sam, have you heard about the Fire Festival too?
You know me too well. I'm getting at. That's me. I get out of the the I don't want to be hammered by Padres fans.
Fire Festival 2. The Tourism Board in Mexico still says
I'm going.
Okay, well, this question's for you. They still say they have no agreement in place for this festival this large, and apparently tickets are ranging from $1,400 to $25,000. And for those looking for a VIP experience, a $1 million package for 8 people includes luxury villas, a private yacht marina, and a private jet to and from Cancun. Billy McFarland, the guy who set up the first one, is selling the event as a chance for redemption. Quote, Fire Festival 2 is about the adventure into the unknown, curating elite once-in-a-lifetime experiences, end quote. I'm up first. If you pay for a ticket and lose the money, is that your fault? Yes. Yes. This guy has been to prison for scamming people out of money. Yes, it's your fault. Sam?
I'm going. Sign me up.
It's not even a thing. You can't
I'm
even
going
buy a
to Fire
ticket yet.
Festival too.
You're going to get
yeah,
that.
well, I'm going when he puts tickets on sale. I want to be in the next documentary. I want to be one of the
you want to be
front-facing. I'm going to make vlogs.
You're going to be
post on TikTok. I want to be at Fire Festival too.
Angry Festival Goer 3 on the credits.
Yes. How could you watch the Fire Fest docs and say, I don't want to be a part of that?
I don't know how you could go to prison for this and then come out and say, I want to do another one.
Now that's really the crazy part. Like, I can joke about want to go to Fire Fest.
Yeah.
But the idea that this guy gets out of prison, the first thing he does is say, let's do it again.
More in the 5 p.m. the happy hour next.
Billy's a
interesting.
character.
Yes.
No matter the time of year, Padres talk never.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because the reality is, although your arm might be useless in 25 this year, your mind's not going to be. And there's still a lot of guys, especially the ones who may be vying for your spot in the rotation, that could lean on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my job to help prepare these guys the best I can, and like guys like Waldron, guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, those are guys that are have really good stuff and are not far away from being middle of the rotation to top half starting pitchers.
Yeah.
So trying to share some things. That's something we talk about all the time in the clubhouse. Is like you bring something to the table on the field every day. That's kind of what brings you here and gets you to this level, but. Days that you're not playing as a starting pitcher, that's, a majority of our days. You pitch once every 5 days, so making sure you bring something to the table is, something we always talk about. So even though, like you said, I'm not going to be physically on the field pitching, I got to find a way to contribute, and a lot of that's just been, better communication with the staff. And I'm really excited this year to be able to sit in more of the coaches' meetings and see how they game plan and how they, come about their approach to certain teams. And I feel like when I come back in 26, I'm going to have a whole plethora of knowledge and things that I hadn't experienced before to add into my game. So.
I just have to say this. I play with a lot of guys, and not all of them are going to take as serious as Joe is taking this part serious, which is getting into those coaches' meetings. Coaches are here a lot earlier than the players,
Are they, man?
especially during spring training. So the fact that he's going to be willing to do that, I think that's awesome, man. That's what separates you from a lot of these other guys out there.
We're talking to Joe Musgrove here, Padres pitcher, 97.3 The Fan, and I have to ask from the fan perspective, because Tony every day on the show, whenever a team in the National League West signs a new big-name player, all of us fans are kind of like, why? And Tony says it doesn't matter. They still have to go out and play the games. When you see that happen, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different perspective as a player. Our job is, our goal doesn't change regardless of whether we add, and that stuff's, out of our control. So you never want to sit here going into an offseason saying, we're going to be fired up if we get this guy and this guy, and not if we don't get this guy. So you look at our team, and a lot of people see all the moves being made and don't see us making moves, and it seems like a mismatch in the division. All these other teams are adding, but you look at our roster, I mean, we spent a lot of money over the last handful of years and committed a lot of guys to be here long term, and the value in having those guys return every year and continue to build that relationship and that growth is every bit as valuable as adding a new free agent. So
Love that.
I think with the progress we made last year, and you guys will never understand how we feel. I'm sure you can see a little bit of it on the field and how we carry ourselves and, the camaraderie and stuff, but you'll never truly understand just how close that group got last year. And although we didn't, achieve the ultimate goal of winning the World Series, we grew a ton as a team. We grew a ton as, a unit. And I'm super excited that we got most of these guys coming back. We got the whole staff coming back, and we can kind of pick up where we left off.
Well, last one for me, because you kind of just hit on it, and I think it's so important. The continuity, right? This is, year maybe 3-4 of this nucleus being together. How much of an impact can that have on a team, having guys who have been in the locker room together for so long?
Yeah, a ton. And, Schulte's big thing is like shared experiences. You know, we got guys from all over the league, some guys that are new and have experienced things that most rookies don't, and some guys that have been around 10 plus years that have, you know, been in championship locker rooms and been around the best of the best. So sharing those experiences with each other and helping each other grow along the way, not just, you know, providing, you know, assistance and, you know, coaching, but like sharing experiences and helping guys grow a little bit through, you know, what you've been through is a big thing for us.
Joe Musgrove, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good one we got here, man. Joe, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks so much, Joe.
Pleasure, man.
Quick healings and enjoy the rest of your day,
sir.
man.
You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because the reality is, although your arm might be useless in 25 this year, your mind's not going to be. And there's still a lot of guys, especially the ones who may be vying for your spot in the rotation, that could lean on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my job to help prepare these guys the best I can. And like guys like Waldron, guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, you know, those are guys that are, you know, have really good stuff and are not far away from, you know, being, you know.
Welcome into the happy hour, everybody, on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Have an update on Chris here in just a second when we get into the show. In just about 30 or 35 minutes, we're going to be giving away our biggest fan name for today. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I got a text in the break saying that about the Fire Festival too, Sam. And this guy was one of my friends was saying that it's so up in the air that because Mexico hasn't even acknowledged this is happening, that you can't really sell tickets to anything. But also some of the coordinates that are being put as like, hey, here's where the festival is going to be. Well, at least one of the coordinates is in the middle of the ocean. So I don't know if this is a big joke or if it's actually a thing, but they're saying that Fire Festival 2 is happening. And I don't think, I just don't understand why. I really don't understand why. If you don't know what Fire Festival is, there's a documentary on Netflix and also Hulu. They're both great. They're both very informative, and it will make you, like Sam and I, not really sure why a guy who just gets out of prison wants to do the same thing again. This is wild to me. This is just, and I'm not allowing Sam to go. He said he's going to go. I'm not allowing him to go. It's not going to happen. Sorry, Sam. Not going.
Think of the content.
That is true. I mean, Sammy's
maybe
TikTok.
Maybe Adam would pay for my trip down there. Work assignment.
I doubt that, but you could try. Never mind. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to. Katrina says it's supposed to be at the island attached to the resort I stayed in at September. In September. I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on this, but I just want everybody to know this is a potential scam. Scam alert, everybody. Scam alert. Big news of the day. Yankees ace Garrett Cole is going to undergo Tommy John surgery. So that's a huge deal for the Yankees. Sam and I talked about it a little bit earlier, whether or not the Yankees could be looking for some help in their starting rotation with him out for the year. Also, Luis Gil, the rookie of the year last year for the Yankees, he is going to be out for about 2 months as well. So they have 2 spots in their rotation. We also have a lot of NFL news, and Sam Darnold is now a Seahawk, 3 years, $100.5 million. The Commanders have traded for left tackle Laramie Tunzel, which is huge for them. So the Commanders are building with that and Debo. Chris Godwin returns to the Bucks on a 3-year, $66 million deal. What else? DK Metcalf is a Steeler. Now here's one of the hardest things I'm ever going to report on this show. Dre Greenlaw, the 49ers linebacker of all linebackers, has signed with the Broncos. He is no longer a 49er, which is really
who's a more legendary 49ers linebacker, Greenlaw or Warner?
Ooh, well, Fred Warner. He's played longer and he's done more. So, but Dre Greenlaw was amazing. He was. It's just too bad he got hurt in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I think that game may have turned out different.
What's the deal with Brock Purdy these days?
There are all of the rumors that you would think are coming out right now about how the 49ers are lowballing him. He's not accepting the offer. I guess the 49ers offered him $45 million a year to start, and he didn't want that. I think that Brock Purdy is going to be signed in due time. It's just Josh Allen's extension of over $300 million puts a little bit of a wrench into it, because now the trend for quarterback contracts, Sam, is all guaranteed money. Like, you basically have to offer some.
And Josh Allen is like a million times better than Brock Purdy.
I don't disagree with that. I'm not saying that Brock Purdy deserves Josh Allen money. I think Brock Purdy would be perfect at the $50 million range. He's not the best quarterback in the league. He's not the worst quarterback in the league. I think $50 million would be good, but it just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work.
It feels like the 49ers, like their run. Feels like
here we go. Over. The window's closed. I've heard it a million times.
Closed
Sam.
without a championship.
I've heard it a million times. I'm also, I'm concerned about this window being closed because it was wide open last year and they finished 6-11. So I'm just not a fan of what's going on this offseason. Also, 49ers All-Pro safety Talanoa Hufanga is with the Broncos. So the Broncos steal two very good defenders and put them on a very, very good defense. So I don't know. Katrina just said Najee Harris to the Chargers. Did Najee Harris just go to the Chargers? Let's see. Najee Harris goes to the Chargers. I don't know. I don't see that yet. Apparently, though, there's a report saying he has already said goodbye to teammates. So we'll figure that out. But lots of news today, Sam. Padres news. They lose to the Reds today, 9-3. Michael King with a so-so start today. Fernando hit his first home run of the spring. Gavin Sheets hit another home run, 2 in the last maybe 2 or 3 days. We chalked this game up today. If you're just tuning in to a throwaway spring training game, we can't really take much from it, but they did lose to the Reds 9-3.
Can I read a little bit of this Buster Only piece,
please,
on the Yankees and Garrett Cole?
Yes,
because
I
do think it relates to the Padres a little bit. Buster writing here, the price of a trade in April or May is usually set by the team dealing away a star, and the Yankees would have to pay a big price in prospects in the spring after a rough year for their farm system. One or more National League West teams could end up feeding the trade market. The Padres enter this season with high expectations after nearly knocking out the LA Dodgers last summer. But if San Diego drifts behind in the playoff race, it holds 2 of the best impending free agents, Dylan Cease and former Yankee Michael King. The pitching market could be flush with options in a few months. The Yankees might wait until then to make a move to cover for Cole's absence.
I mean, you lose 2 starting pitchers in your rotation, one a rookie of the year and one Garrett Cole. You can't replace that with anyone, even if you traded someone. The Yankees are in trouble. They're in big trouble, and I don't feel bad about it at all. Yeah. I mean, they lost Juan Soto. Now they've lost Garrett Cole due to injury.
Yeah, I mean, they did sign Max Fried.
They did.
Trade for Cody Bellinger.
They still have Rodon with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I just think you have to remember what happened last year with Dylan Cease is very, very rare for a trade like that with a star pitcher to happen 2 weeks before opening day. And again, I'll keep saying this until the cows come home. The cows come home. That's exactly what was on my mind. In my opinion, the best course of action for the San Diego Padres is to keep this group together, to see what you can be, and you always have 2 very, very, very good starting pitchers in Cease and King to deal if you're in a position where you are dealing this summer around the deadline. It will not be like to me, it is best case scenario. You are right in the mix. You have a good team. You're competing. You're destined for the postseason. And worst case scenario is that you're not in that position, and then you have the ability to have two studs available at the deadline. Now, you want to argue with me that you'd get more for a guy like Cease now, for a guy like King now, because you're offering it to a team that'll have him for the full season. That's fair. But the minute you do that, for whatever you're getting in return, for whatever you're getting for your farm system, you are creating a massive hole in your rotation that already has one spot up in the air, and B, the message that sends to your very veteran team, 2 weeks before opening day, I don't love that.
Yeah.
So
it kind of is like
my opinion is I want this group together, and you will always have, if you are unfortunately in a position in the summer around the deadline where you are in sell mode, you're going to have the ability to get something back for these guys. You are. I mean, that's worst case scenario. And if you're in it and you're competitive and you're in a playoff spot, then that's great. Then you keep on rolling.
Yeah, I'm fully with you. I don't think that right now they've already had a full off season together. This team has done almost all of spring training together. It would have to be a deal that just totally knocks the socks off of AJ Preller for him to kind of mess with this right now. I want to see it through as well as you do. I think that's the best case scenario right now, is seeing what they have and trying to build on it throughout the year. And then, as you said, reassess at the trade deadline. See what you need to do. If you're not doing well, you could trade Dylan Cease. But if you are doing well, you can try to acquire someone else to supplement you. Some of the other news around baseball, other than that, would be where did it go? There it is. Mets catcher Francisco Alvarez has a broken handmade bone, out 6 to 8 weeks. So that's pretty big for the Mets. I mean, he's a pretty good catcher, but he's been hurt the last couple of years.
He has been hurt. He didn't have a great year last year. He's still very young, but he has dealt with a lot of injuries. Look, the Mets, both New York teams have a lot of injuries. I mean, Heel and Cole, obviously now. The Mets, Alvarez the latest, but remember they lost Minaya, who's going to miss opening day. They lost Frankie Montas for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
He's going to miss opening day. They don't have a great rotation to begin with. After that, I mean, you've got Kodai Senga, but then it's the Griffin Cannings of the world, the Pete Blackburns of the world. I mean, this is not a great rotation. Clay Holmes is very unproven reliever that's going to become a starter, a la Michael King. Signed with the Mets from the Yankees as a starter this past winter. So, look, the Mets lineup, really good. I mean, their offense should be really, really good. But, I mean, from a starting pitching standpoint, I think it has the potential to go really poorly, especially with the injuries. So both New York teams are dealing with some major injuries.
All right, before we go to break, I'm going to read this comment. Prolific said, the more you all talk about Dylan Cease being traded, the more you all are attracting that to happen. Prolific, if I had that power, then Dylan Cease would have been traded like a long time ago. We've been talking about a Dylan Cease trade since the end of last season. I don't think we have that much power, but I'm glad we don't have that power, because I don't want Dylan Cease to go anywhere. I don't think we're going to.
Yeah, I don't
raise the attention of anyone out there.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it. Not at this current moment. I want to see what this team is. I want to see who they are. I want to see what they can do at the start of the year. I mean, this team could get off to a really good start. This team could win 90 plus games. So, if you're not in it come the summertime, or if you're teetering, if you're teetering on the edge of a postseason spot, if you're teetering on the edge of contention, then that's a decision you make then. We saw the Padres not trade Blake Snell, not trade Josh Hader in 23. It ended up arguably being the wrong decision because they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they could have got a good haul back for both those guys.
Yep.
But,
they went for it.
They went for it. You're going to have to make that decision. But we're a ways away from that. We're months away from that.
Yes. All right. That is the latest on baseball news, NFL news. When we get back, we have not talked about the Aztecs men's basketball team. We'll also update you on the women and UCSD. But the Aztecs, they where are they in the tournament right now? Are they in the tournament right now? We will tell you when we get back here on Sammy and Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855, get Ross Trout.
Well, it's official. Chris Ello is staying in Las Vegas for one more night. Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris here on 97.3 The Fan. The Aztecs women's basketball team, I should say, have taken care of their opponent, New Mexico, 63-53. So they are moving on in the next round of the Mountain West Women's Tournament. So he's going to be doing a game tomorrow at 5 p.m., which means he'll be live for a little bit. We're going to record some stuff, I think. Not really sure what's going to happen tomorrow. So this time of year is very crazy. We're also actually expecting Tony to come back as well. So we were just texting, all three of us, and Tony said he's really looking forward to get back to the show, which makes me feel good, Sam. So I'm appreciative of Tony for saying that. Now, the Aztecs men's basketball team, they Sam just texted me for something while on the air. I'm going to look at this a little bit later, but I saw his name pop up. I'm like, does he need to tell me something?
I'm texting you notes about the Aztecs.
Yes, thank you. Oh, that is a good note. Thank you, Sam. The Aztecs, though, they beat Nevada over the weekend on Saturday, and they beat them convincingly. They actually got out to a huge lead this time instead of, losing at halftime and then having to find a way to come back in the second half. But Nick Boyd has been incredible for the Aztecs. He's actually, without Nick Boyd, the Aztecs aren't even in this position. But if you look at the bracketology right now, after cruising past Nevada, they're going to play Boise State in the 4-5 quarterfinal on Thursday in the Mountain West Tournament at 2:30 p.m. Joe Lunardi has the Aztecs as one of the last 4 teams in, which means that they have to play in the play-in game. So the last 4 in for Joe Lunardi is San Diego State, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Xavier. And so in his prediction, San Diego State would be playing Xavier for a spot in the regular 64-team field. Now, Jerry Palm, our guy from CBS Sports,
I don't mean to correct you, but it is a field of 68.
No, I said it very specifically for a reason, because I don't count the first 4.
NCAA.
I don't count the first 4.
That's not how they view it. Yeah, but
yeah, they view it because it's TV revenue.
NCAA tournament.
It's TV revenue for them.
Okay, it's not really a play-in. It is part of the tournament.
Fine. I'm
telling you, San Diego State, if they play in the first 4 and lose, they will consider it an NCAA tournament appearance.
Okay, fine. All right. They're getting money from the NCAA because they appeared, and the Mountain West get money. I'll give you that. Okay, they're in the tournament if they get in the first 4.
All right, carry on. Yeah.
Jerry Palm has Baylor playing San Diego State and Xavier playing Boise State. Now, if they lose, I was reading Mark Ziegler's article earlier, and if they lose to Boise State on Thursday, not necessarily out of the first 4 in, but if they do, it may spell the end for the Aztecs' tourney chances if they lose on Thursday to Boise State. They could still get in at an at-large. I mean, crazy things can happen, but they pretty much control their own fate now. They cannot lose this game.
Yeah, I think they're living on the edge.
They are.
So they would benefit themselves by having some sort of run in this conference tournament, a win or 2. To shore things up, because I'm with you. I think if you lose to Boise State in your first game of the Mountain West Tournament, I think you're running a real risk of being on the outside looking in. I think you are nervous on Selection Sunday.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see.
I don't think we get this. We're not in this position often with the Aztecs men's basketball team.
I think you're nervous. I think they probably still get in, but I think you're nervous.
Yeah, UCSD also won over the weekend over UC Davis, so they took any sort of weird stuff that could happen if they lost. Now they have to win the Big West. And anyway,
and by the way, if you're San Diego State, you are rooting hard for UCSD because you do not want the Big West to become a 2-bid league and have a different conference tournament champ.
Yes,
and then if you're assuming UCSD would get an at-large, so you're rooting for UCSD to win that tournament and not create another potential at-large bid that could hypothetically knock San Diego State out.
That's a good point. I mean, I don't like how I don't like anything really, it seems like. But I also am not a fan of like a team like if USD won the West Coast Conference tournament, they lost, so they're not going to. They would get a spot in the tournament, only winning 7 games all season long or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
And it would kick out a more deserving team.
I that's an interesting debate and point. I've never loved conference tournaments. I just, especially, it's one thing for the power conferences, I think, where there are already, at times 7-8 teams getting bids. That's a little different to me. I just feel like UCSD is going to be a great example.
Yep.
If, now they may get in that large bid, even if they don't win their conference tournament because they've been that good this year. But there are a lot of cases, let's say you're a Patriot League team, okay, or like a really, really small conference. Let's say you have just an unbelievable season. You go, undefeated, 1 loss in your conference season. You run away with that regular season conference title. Tournament style basketball, multiple games in consecutive days. Weird stuff happens.
It does.
And I've always hated that you just throw away what's been a regular season. I don't know. The smaller conferences, I understand they're money makers, the tournaments, and and there's a reason why they do it. But I never have loved the idea of just tossing away the entire regular season.
It's very strange.
And basing the conference tournament winner, or I should say the automatic bid on the conference tournament winner, especially for the really small schools. It's never quite sat right with me.
Yeah, the NCAA tournament has just I feel like everything these days is just about the money that you can make, and it's kind of just lost something for me, because now it's just how much money do I make if I make it into the tournament, or teams are selected because there's a popularity contest. And I know that they say nothing is going on like that, but there's certainly got to be people that are like, no, we don't want that team. They're not very fun. Or I don't know. Let me withdraw the not very fun comment.
Yeah, I think one of the key differences though between college football and the playoff, that the bigger format that just started, and the NCAA tournament, men's basketball, just basketball in general. I think one of the big differences is in March Madness on the basketball side, we so much love this time of year because of the upsets, and they're very real. It's really different. Let's say you had Colgate in the Patriot League in football, okay? Go play Alabama, okay? Colgate, now we've seen crazy upsets in college football.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest. Colgate, 99.9% is not beating Alabama,
No,
okay?
You're right.
But in the NCAA tournament, we see it every year. I mean, we see, a 14 seed beat a 3, a 15 beat a 2. We've now seen a 16 beat a 1. We see this stuff every year. Really, really significant upsets and real Cinderella stories that go to the Elite Eight, go to the Final Four. So I think it's a little bit different in that sense, where we really have upset potential with every game in the NCAA tournament. I don't remember how I got on this little rant.
No. We were talking about conference selection and things like that, but the Ken Palm is annoying. You have to have a certain amount of quad 1 wins versus quad 2 wins. And I saw North Carolina has 1 win in quad 1 this year, but they're still in the tournament. In Kansas, it just seems like there's more deserving teams out there. Like Kansas this year, they've lost a lot of games. I don't know that they should be in the tournament because they don't deserve
I would UCSD is a good example, right? I would so much rather if UCSD doesn't win their conference tournament, I would so much rather as a college basketball fan see UCSD in the tournament as a great smaller conference team than see the 7th best Big Ten team.
Yeah.
Then see the 7th or 8th best ACC team.
Yeah.
Those teams don't interest me.
Me neither.
I love this time of year and what it brings for the smaller conferences.
Get
and
a
schools.
Furman or a college.
Yeah, give me a smaller school. There's nothing Yeah, there's nothing particularly fun about the middling power conference teams, in my opinion. Except if
I
it's the
agree.
Northwestern Wildcats, then that's
Or
okay.
the
They can get
Loyola
in.
of Chicago
Ramblers.
Sam used to call Loyola of Chicago back in the day. New
Stephen
Sister
Woods,
Jean.
alma mater.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sister Jean though and Sam are tight. Like if Sam went over to Sister Jean, there we go, pound it, boom, as he walks by. Isn't that right, Sam?
Yeah.
Sam's looking at me like he has no idea what I'm talking about.
No. I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I've had multiple photos with Sister Jean.
That should go on your dating profile. That is for sure.
You know what? That's a pretty good idea.
You need Sister Jean in your dating profile.
That's a pretty good idea.
All right.
That would be a hit. A Sister Jean photo.
Oh yeah, that's a conversation starter right there. That's a conversation starter.
You've unlocked something.
All right. Well, while you're working on putting that on your dating profiles, I'm going to announce the biggest fan.
Game changer.
Yes. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Tracy Filler of Solana Beach. Tracy Filler. Sometimes I wonder if people misspell their name when they're typing it in. But Tracy Filler of Solana Beach, give us a call back within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973. You'll qualify for a grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Tracy Filler of Solana Beach, 833-288-0973. Your 10 minutes starts now. When we get back, we're going to bring you some baseball news. We're going to bring you some Love is Blind talk. Also, I'm going to tell you why my gaming on my phone, Sam, is out of control. Out of control. Like I play.
This all sounds great. I'm sure people are going to want to tune in.
Yes, I hope they do.
To this exciting sports talk at the Sports Talk Radio.
We have baseball news on the other side as well.
Let's get a little baseball in.
Get a little Love is Blind in too on the other
fine,
side.
Sure.
97.3 The Fan.
Padres spring training lineups are looking.
97.3 The Fan. Sammy and Skraby. We're going to talk some baseball. I'm going to tell you about why my phone games are out of control. But let's start with this, Sam, before we get into anything. Have you seen Andres Munoz's new pitch? He's got a new changeup, apparently. And I guess he has unveiled it in games, and it's a 92 mile an hour, 1,106 RPM fall off the table weapon. It's got a 10-inch vertical drop. If you go to @A_Jude on Twitter, they have a video of this. But the reason I bring this up is because people told me back when that trade happened that this was going to hurt the Padres for years to come. And I put it off. I said, no, it's not. Andres Munoz is going to be one of the best closers in baseball. See, there you go. Sam just saw it. He's going to be one of the best closers in baseball. And
yeah, look, I'm going to tell you, Andres Munoz. Let me tell you a little story about Andres Munoz. 2019, Amarillo Sod Poodles. Andres Munoz, Padres prospect, began the year with us in Amarillo. He was great. He was electric. Was throwing 100+ miles per hour. Had a nasty slider already. It was very easy to see that he had the potential to be a big time reliever. And look, he was a part of that trade for Austin Nola, part of that package of prospects. And I'm not shocked that Andres has gone on to be that one of those guys. I'm not. So hey, good for him. He's kind of lived up to his hype, and his changeup, very nasty.
MLB.com put out a list of the 15 nasty new pitches they've seen in spring, and Paul Skeens leads it off. Now, Paul Skeens apparently has developed a new cutter, which when you see it on the Pitching Ninja Twitter, it looks unfair. So if he's able to throw this cutter in a game and throw it well, then he's going to be unstoppable. But we already knew that. It's a 91 mile an hour cutter. So if that means anything to you pitching people out there, Dylan Cease is actually on this list of 15 nasty new pitches.
Little two seam.
No, it's not that one. They're saying it's the changeup. He has I think he's called a arm speed changeup is what they're calling it. It's on the MLB.com.
He's also definitely working on a two-seam fastball, but okay.
Well, then they picked the wrong one. They said his old changeup was a sub 70 mile an hour floater, and now it's a traditional changeup at 83 miles an hour, and it's got 14 miles an hour differential from his fastball. He actually you've talked to him many times here so far, but we talked to him at FanFest, and he said it's all about just getting to the point where you could throw it and feel comfortable and then working it into the game. So I don't know what you think about his changeup. What about his two-seam? What do you know about that?
Well, I can tell you his two-seam is something he's working on, and a pitch that can run into righties, kind of go the other direction of his slider and his fastball, four-seam fastball. So little two-seam that could run into righties, get some weak contact early in counts, something like that.
Apparently the changeup, I forgot to mention this, he's had whiffs on 5 of the 6 times he's thrown it this spring. So I'm looking forward to seeing Dylan Cease do that. Otherwise, I guess Max Scherzer's debuting a sinker. He's like 20 years into his career and he's getting new pitches, which is good for him, but he's not the same pitcher anymore. Kodai Senga has the ghost fork, but he's also now going with a sinker. I think the ghost fork was a sinker, but they called it a ghost fork. Otherwise, this segment is falling flat from where I thought it was going to go.
I don't know if it's the most entertaining thing to go over new pitches in spring training.
Well, I
but
thought
sure.
it was going to be a little bit of a fun thing. These are all things that I put in the doc like first thing in the morning. So these are like the first things I see on
I just want to see because I'm a little. Let me hold on. Can I see?
Let's
Dylan
go to traffic
Cease's,
first, and then you can do some research. And then
okay, I'm going to have one more thought on this after traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
So how you guys enjoying this whole driving home in broad daylight? I'm kind of liking it myself, but I'm in the studio. Eastbound 52 past Santo Road. This is our only problem. It's a crash that is still blocking that right lane, so expect a bit of a jam up there, East 52 past Santo Road. Everything else looking pretty good around the county. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, what did you find out in that 30 seconds, Sam?
Well, look, I knew this already. Dylan threw what was classified as a changeup like very, very, very rarely last year.
Yeah.
I was aware he was working on this two seam. I'm not as familiar as him with him working on the changeup, but I will ask him about it tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Let's get to my phone conversation real quick. I want to see if you think I need help, Sam, because I am someone. Do you play games on your phone a lot? You're on your phone for all sorts of different reasons, mostly like putting up videos and taking videos and all that. But do you play games?
I do not play any games on my phone. I'm too busy working for 97.3 The Fan. I don't have time to play games.
While Sam's working, I sit back in my house and I just put my feet up and I start playing my phone games. But I am addicted to phone games, and I am addicted.
And I'm addicted to Love Is Blind. So we all have our vices.
We'll get to that in a second. But I have so many phone games going on right now. Like most phone games have times that you have to wait before you get certain things. Like you build a structure, you have to wait an hour to get that structure built or whatever. But I have so many games now that I'm now like timing it out so that all of them are done. Like I put an alarm on my phone that says, hey, you need to go check your games so that you can get your new money, your new structures, all of that. I feel like this is probably something I should, stop doing, Sam, because it's at least 8 games now that I'm collecting things from, and it makes no sense. And the reason I'm bringing it to you and to everybody else is because I want to embarrass myself to the point where I don't do this anymore. Because earlier today on the walk, I missed out on 100 coins because I didn't get there in time because Lucky was going for a walk, and I was mad. So I thought, I think it's time for you to back off on the games a little bit, bro.
Yes, Grabe. Look, whatever makes you happy. If games make you happy, then so be it. There are a lot of gamers out there.
Yeah, but these games are like
sit and play video games, which is fine. So
I'm playing games like Oregon Trail.
You like phone? Yeah, if you like phone games, that's fine.
I gotta go churn butter.
It's your life. It's your time. It's your priorities. It's whatever makes you happy.
Reckoner says, I'm literally playing World of Warcraft right now as I listen. Joseph says, I'm more of a console gamer. Last phone game I played was Flappy Bird. I don't know about Flappy Bird, but all right. Well, two topics in the books, 2 flops in the books. Let's try and get to our third flop.
I don't play. I've never been a video games guy. Okay, in any capacity. If you really like, I've never even had a video game console. My parents didn't let me have one growing up.
What, they didn't let you have one?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
No video games, no. Because I don't mean that. I want to be very clear here. I'm not shaming any gamers out there. Do whatever you want. No. I'm really not. I like doing certain things, and if you like playing video games, that's what you enjoy, then that's totally cool. Cool by me. My parents thought it was a waste of time. They didn't see the point in video games and having me sit there and play video games. So they never got me a console, and I never had a video game console my entire childhood. And to this day, I never had a video game console.
You have any curiosity on video games?
Yeah, my brother has it now in LA. So sometimes I'll play when I'm at my brother's, but I have a feeling that I don't know. I'd play it too much and then be like, oh, I should be doing something else. So
like
I just
playing this other game.
Put it this way. I never have felt in my life like I'm missing anything because I've never had it.
Okay, I can see that, and I also could see why your parents.
My parents. Let me tell you something. My parents didn't let me have
stance.
video games. Didn't let me have Pokemon cards. Like anything that was like cool or like a fad, Sam
Pogs?
did not get.
Did you get Pogs?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, you're a little bit.
We had the. I didn't get the Crazy Bones. You remember those, Skraby, that you flicked?
Crazy Bones?
Crazy Bones, yeah. You like flick them across the table. Anything cool or like trendy or like a fad, I did not get, which I don't hold against my parents. I'm just telling you, that was not.
Oh, I see these Crazy Bones things. Yeah, I remember them now. I do. Pogs are kind of similar a little bit. I don't know.
Joseph saying, does Sammy think being a gamer means we play 4 to 6 hours at a time? No, I'm not. This is not a shame on gaming. I swear. I just have never played video games. I've never had a.
That's fine. I don't blame you at all. It's not a big deal. I'm just saying, I think when I brought this up, it was me trying to shame myself because they're phone games and they're all about how can we get these people to get as high as they can in the game and then spend a bunch of money to get to the next level.
Right.
And
yeah.
I have.
No, I'm with you. Don't spend your money on
No.
phone
I'm not doing it.
items.
That's why I'm waiting like 6 hours for my wheat to grow so I can go get my wheat. If I wanted to pay for my wheat, I could just hit the button and it would take my wheat and I would get my wheat and I could make some bread out of it. But I don't. I have to wait like 8 hours to that. All right, let's go to Love is Blind because it is the end of the show. Final 5 minutes. Appreciate Sam being here today. Love is Blind is season 8. It just ended. Sam, where do you want to start? Because mainly I want.
Well, hold on. Let me also be clear. I haven't seen all of the last episode and the reunion.
I haven't seen the reunion.
But I've seen a spoiler that ruins, I think, the other couple that doesn't get married.
Yeah, there's only
well,
one
actually,
couple
I'm not sure about that. No. Well, Skraby, I didn't know that.
It's already out. It's already out. How do you not
didn't finish the last episode?
All right.
No, I knew that Devin and Virginia don't get married, but now I'm assuming. So whatever. So now I'm assuming. Okay, but we're probably ruining it for people out there.
I think. All right. Spoiler alert. You could.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
On Love is Blind.
Alert. Spoiler alert.
We're
Love
giving
is Blind,
you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Devin and Virginia, I saw a spoiler on Twitter, don't get married.
Yes.
I saw Sarah and the other guy, whatever his name is, not get married. Who cares?
Ben.
Did Joey and Monica also not get married?
They did not get married.
So who did get married? So then it's
Taylor and the Christmas guy.
That's
Dan.
so interesting. I would have guessed that they wouldn't have got married. Wow, that's interesting.
That is interesting because I wouldn't have guessed, but they seem like they're the couple that actually worked out. I would have thought Joey and Monica were going to work out because
they seem great.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was something about Joey that just rubbed me the wrong way.
There was something there. It was like
my favorite on the whole show this season is Lauren. Big Lauren fan.
You're a Lauren fan. Okay,
Yes.
Let's talk about Dave a little bit because
Dave, I don't know what was going on there.
Dave is here's what I kept thinking as I was going through the show. He kept talking about his sister giving him the blessing to get married. I'm like, dude,
obsessed with his sister.
Obsessed with his sister.
My sister.
Did you talk to your sister? I talked to my sister.
My sister.
I'm like, I understand that you could be close with your sister, but your sister does not need to be a part of your every
And then he was
decision.
so bent out of shape at the idea that Lauren could have some sort of like love life, personal life before the show.
Okay. My theory is that he didn't want to get married and that was his way out. Is that he realized after they did the whole proposal thing that he didn't want to go through with it. And his way out was saying he had a problem with her hooking up with someone before the show.
Yeah.
Shockwave says, quote unquote, sister. Did the sister actually exist?
Sister exists. Here's my question, because I haven't seen it. Joey and Monica, how much of a role did Monica's sister play? Because she was very anti-Joey.
I don't really know how to answer that because I was kind of barely watching at that point, but
I know. Can I say something? If somebody out there doesn't watch Love is Blind, which I'm sure many people don't, and many people are like, why are they talking about this? It is 5:53.
Yes,
and we're almost done here.
Yeah. We waited. This was what I wanted to open with, but we waited. Okay?
I will say this about Love is Blind. I think I'm done. I watched the first 2 seasons. I didn't watch again until this season and season 8, so I've missed like 5 seasons between. I will say this show moves way too slow. It is so
There's
slow.
a lot of episodes.
These extended conversations
They are
about
pretty terrible.
nothing in the pods, out of the pods. Move it all. You could do this show in 2 episodes, legitimately. Like 2 to 3 episodes done. There's no reason this show needs to be 14 episodes.
Make it like 6 or 7. It does not need to be 14.
Wait, let me tell you something else that drives me crazy, but I read about it. I know why they do it. Oh, we're done.
No, go for
the
it.
gold cups. The gold cups.
Oh yeah, why?
Everywhere. I read it. Scraby, you want to know why?
Why?
It's for editing because they don't want to have to worry about a drink being in someone's cup full, a drink being lower. It makes a lot of sense. It's for editing.
Wow.
They don't want cups where you can, because I'm sure they're bouncing around in the editing.
Yes.
The different parts of the night and conversation.
I wondered that.
It's for editing.
I'm like,
but it's really weird because everywhere they go, somebody's house, a bar,
it's
a room, a
always the
bedroom,
gold cup.
cups. Always.
Always.
It's for editing.
Who is this? Someone I can't. Mashuti says I thought they were talking about Friends because of Monica and Joey. All right, that's it. Thanks so much, Sam, for being here today. We might hear from you tomorrow.
All right,
thanks
bye,
everybody for listening.
Hope you enjoyed this 4-hour radio program.
Yeah, have a good night. Go watch Love is Blind.
We've got a very special game featuring the Padres prospects in action, called by our very own Sam Levitt and